the show that's made for men by men. And our show is so straight and so honest that not even ladies want to miss it. And tonight will be no different. We are going to have a straight talk about a conversation that gets touched on, but we are going to dive so deep into this one. I think it'll give men better tools in how to navigate the dating world. And we're going to cause women to rethink what they call reality to be. So gather around for some straight talk as we address, as you see the topic, we are going to, as always, we're going to tackle the politically incorrect things that no one wants to talk about, or at least we pretend to be talking about them, and we do it in such a politically correct way. I'm echoing, huh? Not good. Thanks for letting me know. Let's see. Echoing. Close some of this. Hey, tell me, is my voice still echoing? Am I coming through clear? Let's get rid of some stuff here. Tell me if I'm coming through clear. I'm still echoing. What's going on, Imperator? Lone Wolf, good to see you in the house. Got your leg day in. Good, yeah. Today was chest and arms for me, so squats gets everyone, man. That is the day. All right, cool. Thank you, guys. Yeah, squats is the day that knocks people, pun intended, off their feet, man. So that's a good day. But hell, chest and arms, when I do those biceps and chest, I alternate. One week I go hard, the next week I go easy. So this is my week to go hard. So I'm pushing it out today, getting a great workout. And I want to get a workout here too. We're going to get a mental workout. So I was told that I am being a little brutal in addressing some of these topics. So Straight Talk is a talk show. As I said, it's made for men by men. Women don't want to miss it. We talk about dating, relationships, social challenges. So we don't just talk about love and relationships. We get into some social issues, and we take on some things that sometimes are politically incorrect, and other times we take on common mainstream topics, but we really do it from a very different perspective. And you guys always have brilliant questions and comments in the chats. Always love and appreciate, love the support. I'm not sure if I could ever do this without you guys. So I can only say thank you. Gracias, obrigado, share. Let's see, what other languages do I have? Tak, kwai. I'm saying thank you in multiple languages for all the support you guys have given to me. So I appreciate it. Really? Masculine women in college, huh? Okay, all right. When I saw college, that's what I thought you were, a red pill. All right, cool. Good to see you in the house. Name change. All right. What's going on, Chaos View? Good to see you in the house. So, looking at the title, you guys see it. Are women lying when they wear makeup? I often have a subtitle I don't always put in, but the subtitle is, Does Makeup Make All Women Deceptive? That's the other question that I had. So I often ask a question. That's my shows. I like to lead with a question. No one can ever say I'm making accusations. I'm asking a question. I'm conducting an inquiry. in an inquiry, you peel down the layers and you discover we're making a discovery. And so there's one fact: women do wear makeup, and I'm sure some women are going to say, well, not all, and some women wear more than others. I don't care. Women wear makeup. If there is more than one woman, you use the word women for plural. How you all factor in whether you're included or not, that's you all work that out. So women wear makeup, and there are some interesting cases. And not only are they wearing makeup, they're wearing all kinds of fake accessories that augment and make them look like they don't. And they even go under the knife. So we're going to get into this, and I'm going to offer a perspective for you guys. So listen, I understand a lot of guys have walked away from women, but ultimately, I guess you could be a monk. Guys talk about letting everything crash and burn. But if you do that, women are going to go to the sideline, watch you build it up, and then tell you you are incompetent for letting it crash and burn. You're going to be right back where you are. So I like to talk about more effective ways for men to navigate their relationships with women. I don't care what the relationship is, professional, friends and family, or intimate. I like providing facts. So maybe we'll do some screen share on some kind of comical situations. I'll take some calls. You guys know there are two ways you can participate. You can call in at 323-642-1387, 323-642-1387. In the meantime, if you haven't smashed that like button, smash it, because we're going to have a good time with this one. And you guys have seen the pictures. We're going to do some more, kind of have fun with some before and after. I see you in there, Brad. What's going on in Instagram? So I'm on Instagram, also Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook, YouTube, and I just gave the number for Blog Talk. I'll drop the link for YouTube, and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, this is a perfect time to do it. Hit the subscribe, smash the bell so you get notifications, and share this. There are probably a lot of men who get hooked by makeup. You know, the question is, are women lying when they wear makeup? And if a woman is willing to lie about that, what else could she, might be willing to lie about? What does it say about her? So we're going to get into that. We're going to look at it from that side of the table. And what are the consequences as a man? You choose a woman who doesn't present herself. So let me take a gulp. I went to the gym later than normal. I'm going to just gulp some lentils. And I'm going to read to you some of the thoughts I had about this topic. I was hoping I could make this food disappear before 7. Didn't do it. You got your pre-workout, 4 a.m. Man, that's commitment. If you're in the gym at 4 a.m., man, is that the college gym or a 24-hour gym? I always prefer to eat within 60 minutes after I finish working out. Your body will make best use of the nutrients if you eat 60 minutes after. I didn't even know gyms were back to 24 hours. A chaos view, that is definitely one aspect. Someone posted something on Instagram, and that's what that woman was doing with makeup. She was fighting time and nature. But there are women who are young. They're in their early 20s, and it's not. Yeah, you could say nature. I mean, you have what you have, right? But they're at under 25, that's pretty young, but they're still caking on the makeup. So I am going to do a screen share. Let me take a couple of calls here. I'm going to bring in two callers, area code 201 and 310. 201, Jersey. You're in the house. You're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from? And it sounds like you might be in a car at 201. Let's try that.
Hello.
Hey, 201. Is that you?
Yeah, this is Joe.
Hey, Joe. Why?
Just gotta be ready.
All right. So let's see.
Got a lot of background noise.
Yeah, that was you, Reggie. I put you on mute, man. You're 201. What are you doing, man? That's a Jersey area code, man. Hey, Joe. He'll call back. Hey, Reggie, are you there? Are you riding a motorcycle, man, or a bicycle? What are you on? Hey, Reg, 8310. I think you put yourself on mute.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did, but yeah. Can you see that? That's my truck tire.
Right.
Can you hear it? You still hear it?
A little bit. It's not as loud as it was before, but you can still hear it.
All right. Well, I'll just interject on it. What you're talking about. Whether you want to know whether they're being honest or lying to us or just being deceptive or I don't know, being because they delusional. I don't really know what to say, but I think if you, I don't have a problem with just a little makeup here or something like that, but when it gets really where they're really just trying to change their overall look, and I mean they don't look anything like they did when they woke up or whatever. I mean I think that's some psychological things going on. I mean between with the fake hair, everything's over the top, the eyelashes, color contacts, and the crazy thing about it is you'll meet a woman on a first date or something. And let's suppose you meet her online or you meet to a friend and say, okay, let's meet so we can meet each other. She'll show up with all of this fake stuff on. So you don't even you know what I'm trying to say. You still don't even see her. So
Okay.
I said that to a woman before. She said, well, this is who I am. I said, no, that ain't who you are. So I was like, wait a minute. This chick actually believe this is who she is. So that means she lying to herself, and that's also a sign that she really doesn't really like who she really is. So that's even another issue. So I mean, self hate. If she hate herself, how she gonna like you? I mean, I just don't see how that can really work for anybody, or how she can really say she really likes or loves someone else when she really doesn't really like herself.
All right, interesting perspective. Joe, are you back? Hey, Reg, can you go on mute?
Yeah, I'm here.
Reg,
Okay,
go
that's
on mute.
gonna be all right, all right, all right.
All right, Joe, go ahead,
All
Joe.
right, that's good. Yeah, yeah. Is a topic: are they deceiving themselves, or are they deceiving us, or are they deceiving everybody?
Are women lying when they wear makeup? So it's kind of it's
Oh, they're lying.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, they're lying. They're lying because they love me. They have to have makeup. They know that without makeup, they look like creatures from the Black Lagoon. Okay, regardless of whether they're black, Asian, or white. They are just stone cold ugly unless you are like one of the few, the 1%, 2% who are naturally pretty. Most girls without makeup are not pretty. They are just, at the very best, plain. And in some instances, especially when you rub their makeup off after after you finish fucking them, and then you say to yourself, "Where's the girl that I walked in here with?" She's not the same person, and they know it. Men don't even get enough credit for marrying women who walk around the house without the makeup on. They are stone cold ugly. Now, if the
Wow.
man, if the husband can get used to it, more power to him. Then it's not a problem. But if he's got to walk past that beast every day after he comes home or she comes home and she takes off that makeup and they got to walk past each other inside the house to go upstairs and downstairs or to the left side, north side, more power to them. But yeah, they're lying. They know they're lying. They know that I once met a chick who I couldn't believe it. She had zits and a mole. And when she put the makeup on, it didn't seem thick, but it covered up the zits and the mole. So yeah, men are presenting their true selves to you when they're wearing makeup, but because it's socially acceptable, they think that the makeup on them is their real identity. And men accept it. But yeah, they're lying. They are fucking lying.
All right.
Joe,
All right.
so hey, I just want to ask you a question right quick before I go back on me. So, do you believe that men accepting this is just this is just the start of something? They would do something and men would accept it, and then it turns into something else. You know what I mean? As far as I'm just talking about the makeup now, but you could even take that into broader stuff like they wanted certain rights, men gave them that or this or that. Accepted this, you accept that, and now everything's just wild and over the top and stuff, and you're supposed to accept it now. You know what I mean? So I just
Okay,
have to say about
I
that.
think you're asking. I think you're asking since it's been acceptable for a long time that women expect men to be accepting of it forever, that they shouldn't complain about it. Is that your question?
Well, they might say you know what, that might be it. Well, you didn't complain about it before, y'all didn't say that, so what's the problem now or whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
they can
All
come
right, I
that
got
way.
it.
But
Yeah.
also the fact that you initially accepted the lie and said, okay, well, it makes them feel good about themselves. So if it makes them feel good about themselves, anything that helps them feel good about them, we'll just let them do. But then look what happens. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, basically.
Okay. Well, the thing is that can you roll your windows up? Okay. Here's the thing. I believe, and I don't know if this is true, but Maybelline invented the mascara industry, the makeup industry in the 30s. I don't know about that. I think in the 20s when they were wearing makeup. I don't think they were wearing makeup in the early 20th century. I don't think in the 1900s or even in the 1910s they were wearing makeup. And then men invented makeup. Women accepted it. They embraced it. Men liked it because it made them look prettier. But to answer Reggie's question more pointedly, yeah, men accepted it. Women know that men have accepted it, and now they can point another bony finger of recrimination at men and say, "Why are you complaining that I look the way that I actually look with the makeup off when you didn't mind having me as a trophy chick, trophy wife with the makeup on when we went to parties or went to visit your mom or went to visit your friends?" And the answer to that, if a man is complaining, he should have listened to her like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times because she's not going to change. So if he marries her and he says, "Oh God, this broad is ugly. Oh, what am I going to do?" But you knew about that before you married her. You didn't put in too many prenup that she had to have plastic surgery. She was wearing makeup before you met her. She was wearing makeup afterwards. She's wearing makeup now. She looks like a beast now. You set your own trap. You set your own. Now, you made your own bed. Now live in it. So, but if a man says, "Oh shit, I didn't know you looked like that when I," until after I fought you, and then leaves, and then the woman complains, well, at least he's being honest with her. I mean, he shouldn't say it like that. He shouldn't say, "Oh fuck, what a beast." But he should say, "Well, look, the relationship between men and women are based upon sexual attraction. You have turned me completely the fuck off when you took off that makeup. I'm sorry, you know." And he's being honest. So those are my thoughts. Does that answer your question, Reg?
Well, basically, yes and no, because you put marriage into it. But I'm just saying the fact that you said men created makeup and then allow women to wear it, right? And now, first it was this, then and now you have, first was this maybe lipstick, then they came with some other stuff. Now they got extensions. Now they have fake eyelashes. I mean, it's never going to stop. Now it's always going to be some other little enhancement, something that to them they really don't care because they're really doing it because obviously it makes them feel better about themselves. It's a lie, but they don't care. They just want to feel good. They want their attention. They want that validation and all of that stuff. So so that's what So to be honest with you, everything that we complain about, men have had a hand in it. Or men should. It's like cancer. If you don't get to it, you don't cut it out right away, it's gonna spread. It's gonna turn. So that's basically what we have with the makeup. So now you got women. I mean, they weren't here with. I mean, I don't understand how a woman could wear hair that everybody knows is not her hair, and she feels confident about it. She doesn't feel embarrassed about it. Are you wearing stuff that people know that or I mean, I'm here in Atlanta. These shit that fake ass is all over, and I'm just looking at this shit. And I'm like, people know that shit ain't real. I mean, you can look at it don't really even look good. But I mean, but to them, I mean, I don't know what it's like what I see and what they see are totally different,
this is another reason why men rather shouldn't go gaga when they see a so-called good-looking woman walking down the street.
Oh no, because Coach Coach Greg, he said I look better than the women. He said, look at me, I'm all natural, I'm dark, I got my great, I am who I am. You got to go in there and go through this whole metamorphosis or whatever. But look at me, I'm chocolate skin, I'm beautiful just the way that I am. So I mean, you could look at it like that. I mean, you could tell it to them, but you tell it to them, somewhere in their mind, it's really not going to register. Because I was dating a chick or someone, and I tell myself, why are you putting all that on? I said, you look better without it. And I kept telling them, you look better without this on. But what I saw and what they saw was totally different. Totally different.
Hey, Red.
There's is Kendrick's on the line?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Kendrick.
What's going on,
Here's another thing, too.
I ain't mean to cut in, gentlemen, because y'all on the road. But hey, Red, what was that group back in the day? The thing what you see is what you get.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the song. I remember the song.
It's the main ingredient.
Here's another.
It's the main ingredient.
Here's another thing too. Here's another thing too about makeup. Makeup gives women a societal and economic advantage over men. All they have to do is a half an hour in the morning put on their makeup. They're very attractive, right? Or they attract attention from men. Men invite them to parties. They look good when they go out for job interviews, and they have status right away. Because all a man really wants is just a very good-looking woman who isn't a bitch. But a man has to acquire status, power, money, maybe fame, in order to attract the same kind of attention from women as the pretty woman does from a man. So it gives women that societal advantage. Take off the makeup, and you're not going to have a lot of men. I like a joke a friend of mine told me one time. He says, "Hey, Joe, why did God give women breasts?" I said, "What?" He says, "So men will talk to them." So without the makeup, men aren't going to talk to them. They don't talk to them. They don't attract attention. They lose.
Right.
There's another saying: a woman's face is her currency. That's been around for decades, and it's the truth. The prettier that you are, the more attention you attract, the more men approach you, the more men invite you to parties, invite you to join organizations. Women don't do any of that. They don't have guts. They very rarely will approach a man unless she's a groupie or unless he's rich or famous.
Right.
So
I mean, because that's what I'm trying to tell you. I've seen you just see exactly like, when their attitude change, when they put that on, or, so these women, if their hair's not done, they won't leave the house. But when their hair is done, they feel good about the attitude changes. It's amazing and really amazing. But I'm pretty sure
it's
a lot of
psychological transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, their face is their currency.
Hey,
Well, I don't know these days.
Go ahead.
These days, they think they all these Instagram models or Instagram, I don't call them models, Instagram whores. They body, they got body models or body images now. Just have big ass titties. But then who's tricking off on it though? It's like a fire. I mean, guys is feeding oxygen to that fire, or the fire would have died out.
Hey, Ted, remember that internet whore that you were talking about? That Brenner, I think her name was.
Right. Yes.
Did you see the picture of her without makeup?
You talking about one of the Kardashian girls, right?
One of the Instagram chicks. The one who said that.
Brittany Renner.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the fall off is major. Yeah. I mean, she's still not hideous, but she's okay. But you know what it is that makeup can take them to such a level that even when they take it off, the fall off is so major that it really screws up the thing. If it wasn't if the fall off, the fall off wasn't so much, then it'd be okay. Because I don't know if you remember Rita Hayworth, a guy always wanted her. A guy married her, he wanted her to always dress up like Gilda in a movie that he saw her in and stuff. And you know, he was fixated on that image and stuff. When that makeup and that cameras and all that shit came up, and he saw her in the real, now he's ready to get rid of her ass.
Yeah, I never liked Rita Hayworth with makeup on. I never saw with makeup off. I never liked it. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I know you're talking about. She's a 40s, 1940s, and 50s star. She's actually Mexican.
Yeah, she was. I'm a classic movie buff, so you are right. I know all of this stuff. What you got? Let Country Boy say he want to interject his in there.
Mr. Red, but I want to tell you, some of these Western women in particular, they done got outrageous with this makeup and stuff. But I know a person that Red of an Ethiopian couple that works right in my local neighborhood grocery store. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you those women don't have no kind of makeup on, they keep their hair wrapped up while they're back in their kitchen cooking. Mm-hmm. Those women are just straight up gorgeous. And that black don't crack like Bernie Mac said. Some women are gorgeous, straight up Habesha women from Ethiopia. Them folks look gorgeous, Red. You would think they look like Naomi Campbell, somebody back in the day on the runway with their makeup on. But some folks don't have a drop of makeup on, and they in their natural skin.
Well, that's because Naomi Campbell, I think came from either Rwanda or
I think it's Iman. I think you're talking about Iman, the one who was with David Bowie. I think
Iman too.
Oh, yeah. Well, Iman don't really look that hot without that makeup on. That's one Ethiopian we can't give credit. She don't know. She don't. That's the problem with those models. These guys who want to get these models, these runway models, and all that stuff. They look. Like you said, they look good. They look good when they all made up, and you got this trophy wife or trophy woman on your arm. But when they take that stuff off, man, you talking about some plain Jane.
But that's what I'm saying, John. That's what I'm saying. Even the foreign plain Janes are fine. Well, that's that mess on their face. You don't put nothing on no good skin, Mr. Reed. Everybody know that. Some folks just got it, and some folks just ain't get it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Hey, but you know what? Hey, obviously some guys like that stuff because the chicks are wearing it, or they'll say, well, this is what the guys like. They really know it's not. They just that's the way for them to justify wearing it. To take the heat off of them. The fact that they really have low self-esteem, they rather put it on you. They ain't gonna take blame.
So hold it, guys. I want to do a screen share. I want to look at a couple of things. And Cowboy Monk, I see you in the house. The Scout, great to see you. Orwell's house cat. Good to see you. The Cowboy Monk said something interesting. What did he say? Some of them put it on so thick they have to use a hammer and chisel to get it off. And they do. Some of them have so much foundation, it's like you can't even touch their skin. So I want to do a screen share on both Reggie and Joe. You talked about what happens when a guy gets with a woman and he doesn't like what he sees. Reg, you said Joe talked about marriage, right? So we're going to get a real story.
There was one case.
Hold on.
There was one case where Saudi Arabian.
Joe, don't let the cat out the bag yet. Let's see if this is the.
Okay.
So I'm doing a screen share, you guys, on Blog Talk. You can't see it, but it's from a newspaper, The Sun, and the title says "Deceived by Cosmetics. Husband divorces his wife after seeing her without makeup for first time days after wedding." The groom said, and this was written October of 2016. The groom said he no longer recognized his bride after her face got wet during a swim in the sea on honeymoon. A husband divorced his wife when he saw her without makeup for the first time days after they tied the knot. The man, 34, accused his 28-year-old bride of deceiving him by wearing cosmetics and false eyelashes before their wedding. The newlyweds' honeymoon ended abruptly after they went for a swim in the sea at Al Mamzar Beach in Dubai. Damn, he spent all that money. The husband was said to have been shocked when the water washed off her makeup and claimed he did not recognize his wife. Dr. Abdul Aziz Asaf, a consultant psychologist, has been working with the unidentified woman to help her get over the split. Oh, it goes on. Oh, I thought it was going to end. Okay. Let's see. He told Gulf News the groom immediately divorced his bride and refused any attempt to reunite them again. The couple had been engaged for 6 months before the wedding, the doctor said, but the husband did not think his wife looked as pretty when her makeup washed off. The bride wore artificial eyelashes and had undergone cosmetic surgery before the marriage, which she had intended to reveal to her partner. Wow. Now, I didn't read it before reading it, but that's not the article I read about. So this is interesting. So yeah, Joe,
Yeah, I didn't hear about that one either.
That's what you were talking about.
I know about 2 other cases.
Well,
I know about 2 other cases.
The one I was looking for was the guy. I don't know how long he was married, but he said his wife went into the bathroom one night. He was in the bed. You know, he married this woman. He thought she was so gorgeous, and she goes into the bathroom, and when she comes out, he's screaming, "Who are you? Who are?" He's screaming, "Who are you? How did you get in here?" And she's like, "I'm your wife." And he's like, "Hell no, you're not my wife. I didn't marry you." And he demanded an annulment. He wanted out immediately.
And you know what it is? You know probably what it probably really was there?
What's that?
The fall off was so major. Again, when a fall off is so major, that can really shake you up. If it had just been a little bit, whatever. I mean, I wasn't there, but I'm just thinking, that's what I would say.
Wait,
well, of course, Reg, of course it was. The contrast was so much of such a great magnitude that I don't know if he screamed, because who was there to verify if he screamed? But if he says he screamed, I'm sure he didn't recognize her. He wanted a divorce right away because she did not look anything like the pretty girl that he fell in love with. And that's another example that I don't know about. I know 2 other examples I'll get to when Ted gets finished.
Well, here I've got.
Okay.
Hold on, Reg. Hold on. I've got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
In McCoy's News, husband divorces wife after seeing her makeup free for the first time. This is May 29th, 2017 in Algeria. So this is all over the world. Husband divorces wife.
God.
Husband divorces wife after seeing her makeup free. Now listen to this next line. A traumatized man thought he'd married the love of his life. A woman with both inner beauty and outer beauty. That is until he saw his bride without her makeup on. It was like the mask had come off. Now he's suing for fraud and trauma. The anonymous man who married his wife in all her finery apparently saw her in his room after the wedding and refused to believe that she was his wife without her makeup on. After telling her to stop playing and asking where his wife was, the traumatized man realized this really was the woman he married. Reports from Algeria, where the marriage took place, state that the bride played her cards very well. she never allowed her future husband to see her without makeup before the wedding. So, I mean, he was so stunned when he saw her face. He reportedly said he thought she was a thief who came to steal his apartment. He said he looked very. He said she looked very beautiful and attractive before their marriage, but when he woke up in the morning and found that she had washed the makeup off of her face, he was frightened as he thought she was a thief. The groom is asking for $20,307.95 in damages for psychological suffering. According to him, beauty is in the eyes of the man you marry. Maybe he should have threw a bucket of water on her before it went down. Court documents reviewed by estimate 247 state. Oh, I'm sorry. Court documents retrieved by Emirates 247 state. The groom told the judge that he could not recognize his wife after she washed the makeup off her face. He said he was deceived by her as she used to fill up her face with makeup before the marriage. So yeah, that's another story, man. So
like I said, and I wasn't exaggerating, right?
Yeah, these are real
I wasn't
stories.
exaggerating.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with
You
this.
take,
Can you guys hear me?
If you wipe that, yeah, I can hear you. If you can wipe that makeup off, right, when you're making love to her, and you see what you brought into the bedroom, then, you know, I wasn't lying. You get may not get a real physical shock, but you really get surprised. I think that happens to a lot of men. Said, no, when you finish, because I got two stories about.
I'm sorry. This guy said something. He said some of them look like the moon. Hold on, Reg. Hold on. And some of them look like the moon without their makeup after a meteor shower. So, traders.
I'm cooking, so I'm trying not to be noisy. But like I told you earlier, Ted, before a woman can deceive you or deceive a man, she's gonna deceive herself. Wait before she gets to you. Now, but this woman was hiding from this guy actually. So she really knew that her ass was ugly.
Exactly. She did it on purpose.
Yes.
She played. It says she played her cards. She did this purposely.
Right. That's why she was lying to him. She hid from him until the marital night. Reggie, perhaps something. Yeah.
Outside of makeup, there was a guy in China. He married this woman, successful businessman, marries this beautiful woman.
Oh, that's the one I was going to talk about.
They go to her parents' house, and he's looking. The mother screwed her daughter. Brings out, I guess, the photo albums to see her as a little girl, and he says, "Who is this?" And she says, "Oh, that's me before cosmetic surgery." And he was like the guy, "I'm out." And he said, "I'm not marrying an ugly woman. That means I'm going to have ugly children. There's no way I'm going to stay married to this woman. I'm out." So he asked for a divorce, and he sued for this fraud.
Yeah.
So
that was the one I was going to talk about. Plus another one. If you want to talk about it, Ted, it's the one about the Saudi Arabian prince. Do you know about that one?
I don't know about that. Go ahead, tell us.
Okay. So, Saudi Arabian prince, whatever the courtship practices over in Saudi Arabia. So he finally gets married. Gets married on the wedding, right after the wedding. They didn't even go home. She lowers the veil. He takes a look at her because, she must have had pretty eyes. Never saw her before. Just saw the eyes. Lowers the veil. In there.
Hey Joe, you're breaking up. We're missing out. We're missing out on the story. You're breaking up, Joe.
Is it me? I think also. Sometimes you're breaking up too, Ted. Is it because you're moving the your wire or something?
No, I'm moving nothing, but you're clear right now.
No. Yeah, okay, then it's me. All right, so if I'm clear, good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so that was it. It took him 10 seconds. I think he divorced her right after saying, I divorced thee, or whatever the particular proclamation is. Right there on the spot.
Right. Exactly. Wow. Someone
Good
said,
Google move.
I mean,
someone said you should go swimming on your first date.
that's a good idea. That's a damn good idea. Absolutely is. Go swimming, find out what she looks like, and all that foundation gets. I'll bet your mascara comes out with some waterproof makeup.
They do. But hey, speaking of makeup, so the Max Factor was one of the early makeup artists. So just, I
Oh,
think,
that's right.
I think, guys,
They were the first ones.
I think, guys, that makeup really was. I don't know how far back it goes, but I think it was for it was entertainers, right? For you're in a play performance,
was.
you know that's who makeup was for. But when Max Factor
That's right.
decided to do this, and it was for movies, Max Factor said he told
They
all
commercialized it.
no, listen,
Yeah.
he told his employees, we are not selling makeup, we are selling confidence. That's what we're selling. And that's how they market it. They packaged it. Ladies, if you want confidence, you need this on your face. And it clearly it worked. So it went beyond, like you said, they commercialized it. So it went beyond entertainers, but even wigs and all the fake lashes and all that stuff was all for entertainers. And we accepted it because it was entertainers. Just like, you see a clown in its outfit and they have makeup on their face. We accept that, right? As part of entertainment. But now, well, not
Right.
now. It's decades, I don't know, 100 years since it's become
I think they
commercialized.
invented it in the 1925. I think Max Factor came out with it.
Okay, so that goes with silent movies. So that would make sense, right? So and
Yeah.
I think makeup was also it helped so that the light didn't reflect, it would absorb. So makeup, even if you do like a television interview now, they're gonna put some level of makeup because of how it interacts with the light. So your face is not too shiny or
Right.
reflecting. So that's why I think
And
that's why
they put on the pancake makeup. Yeah.
That's why they were using it. Max Factor, he knew how to apply makeup in a way that the lighting would hit it right, and you look, the woman or even a man, they would put makeup on. But I mean, if you see with guys, we go out as we are. But here's the other thing to think about, guys. Look at a peacock. If you look at the male peacock and the female peacock, the male is always more attractive and more brilliant. Certain geese, the males are more colorful and the females are very dull and drab. My father taught me that it was the way they survived. The female could camouflage and disappear into to the wilderness, and the male would come out and fight and protect his female and her eggs. But the males are always much more brilliant. And so it seems to passed over into humans also. And Chris Palmer, I see you in the house, Chris Palmer.
That's part of the purpose of nature, is to make the birds more colorful in order to attract the female of the species.
Yep. Chris said, "This is interesting." He said, "I always meet them at the beach." He said, "I'm a white guy, and it took me." He said, "I'm a white guy, and it took me like 4 tries to realize why all the black women wouldn't go in the water. Hair hats." So
that's a damn good idea. So
here's
meet them at the beach.
What somebody said earlier about taking them swimming or to a pool or whatever, right?
Right.
Now you always know. The sisters always gonna. They're not gonna get their hair wet. So if they're not gonna get their hair wet, then they're not gonna get their face wet. So they will get to the, you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
So that's not going to work in every case.
Well, if she's a natural, so I mean, the last woman who lived with me, she wasn't black. She was half Asian and half Dominican, and I didn't like her wearing makeup. We dated for about 4 years, lived together 3, and she never wore makeup. Whether we went out or anything. Now, when we first dated, she put on lipstick on one of the early dates. But once we were living together, I was like, "Look, you look great," and she really was attractive without makeup. Long black wavy hair, um, all her features, with the body, and she was comfortable with that. She wore no makeup. So I think that
Yeah, you one of the lucky ones.
no, but how am I lucky? I don't want to say I demanded it, but maybe I did, but not in that way. I complimented her without makeup. So, she was a face, and that's really how when I look at a woman, I look at a woman like I'll stare at her. I did this as a teenager, and I would think, could I wake up with this woman? How would I, what am I going to think if I wake up in the morning with this woman without makeup on? And that's how I determine if she's attractive. If I can't see it, if I can't see this, imagine this woman being attractive without makeup, then I'm going to pass on it. So
Likewise, see,
Oh, yeah, like I
that's
said.
just dudes go back to
Yeah.
doing it. Stop lying and sugarcoating and go back to doing it.
So there's
Well,
there's
again, they're not going to do it. They're not going to give up.
Hey,
They're not going to give up makeup. It's up to men. It's up to men to realize. Go ahead, man.
They said, well, I'm trying to get it because I'm cooking and going mute in between. Why don't you get a chick a no makeup chat? Once you put them on straight talk, offer a woman no makeup, no weave, no this challenge, and see what they do.
Well, so you're bringing up something, and I want to address it. So here's why I really have a problem with this. It's because if you think about it, if a woman, like these guys who divorced their wives because they never saw them without makeup, can you imagine psychologically what she has to go through? If she literally has to hide herself, if a woman believes she cannot leave the house without makeup on, then what does it say about her experience on a daily basis when she looks in the mirror? Like, she must really dislike, even hate what she sees in the mirror, so much so that she has to hide it and she will not come out without makeup. So that's going to say that woman is constantly in conflict with herself. She looks the way she does, and that's what she has. And she can do cosmetic surgery, except we see what happened in China with that guy. He still divorced her. And that's what's happening. You've got women who are on a scale of 1 to 10, they're 4s, and they put on makeup and maybe they look like a 7, and they make themselves available to guys who really are attractive, and they have the women will have a false sense of self, but it's not real though, because she still has to deal with the reality of when she looks in the mirror in the morning or at night when she takes off makeup, that's who she is. So there's going to be psychologically a way that she looks at herself.
I wouldn't think so, Ted.
That's listen.
I wouldn't think so.
I would, yeah. Well, why would you hide it?
Because it's socially acceptable from the time even before they're born.
I understand.
A lot of women nowadays, right? They're born after 19.
Listen, they
they're
may
born
wear
after
Joe.
19, 25. It's part of our.
Joe, they may wear makeup, but see the reality. Look, the reality is they know that as themselves, they're going to be unacceptable. And that's what I'm getting at. Imagine knowing, imagine as a man knowing that there's something about you that makes you socially unacceptable and you have to hide it. Imagine how
But again, that's what I'm explaining. I know, but that I'm saying most of them, the vast majority, you probably feel at least 50% of them have to go through this kind of psychological trauma or deep thinking about it. I say no, because they know that if they walk outside of the house without makeup on, they look like monsters. But they are socially accepted as looking like that by the men who do marry them, who do date them, and who do accept them with the makeup off. Remember, I said men don't get enough credit for accepting women, especially when they marry them, for what they look like with the makeup off. They know this. They know that, okay, I'm going to look like an 8 when I'm really a 4. But the guy accepts me when he gets to know me, and he knows I'm a 4, but I can look like an 8, and he accepts it. So I don't think they have a lot of trauma.
That's the problem, Joe. They don't, and that's why there's so many single women, because they're really a 4 and they put on makeup and they're 8. So a guy who's an 8 had sex with them, and now they believe that they're an 8, except they can't keep an 8. They just can't do it. And even if they marry one, that guy's going to divorce. I mean, I read a couple of articles. You talked about one. I'm sure there are many more that just don't hit the news because this is way too deceptive. I mean, you guys can't see the screen, but I just pulled up. I did a before and after makeup, and there are just a bunch of women, and some of these women are, they are what society would deem as unattractive. However, if they put on makeup and fake hair, they look very different. They'll look acceptable. So, I mean, just imagine knowing that the way you are is socially unacceptable. And this is a harsh way to put it, but it really is. I mean, if you could see some of these women, they still have to deal with the reality of that. And look at what that guy in Dubai, a psychologist had to work with the woman because of the psychological damage of the man rejecting her for her looks. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm trying to say, Joe. These women are dealing. What they do is they fake you, right? So Max Factor said we're selling confidence. So when she puts on the makeup, she's pretending, she's just acting. She's pretending to be who the makeup makes her appear to be, except still in herself. That's the side of you don't see. Joe, you have to understand, when a person is constantly in conflict with themselves, they're going to be more acrimonious. You're going to have many more problems, and there are going to be disputes in the relationship because the person they are lying and they are in conflict with themselves. And I'm saying this is part of the problem. So if you're hiding constantly, you're afraid of getting found out when you're being deceptive. And psychologically, that has an impact, is what I'm saying, Joe.
I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that the numbers don't bear it out. How many married people are in America today? Let's say out of 320 million Americans, out of 160 marital candidates, let's say I think there were something like 70 households. So that means 70 married people around that. The 95% of those married people in America knew what their wives looked like before they married them, and they married them anyway. Which means that the women know this when they go dating.
Well, Joe,
so to me, most of the women aren't suffering any kind of psychological damage.
Well, so Joe, here's the deal. See, you're talking about in the older generation. In the older generation, there wasn't as much caked up makeup. And actually, there were times throughout over the decades where very few women wore makeup. There was this fad of being natural, right? You could say the 60s and the 70s, right? So what you see is that. So the woman who was a 4 married a guy who was a 4 or a 5. and they lived happily ever after. But now with so much makeup and all these other things like eyelashes and contacts and weaves and cosmetic surgery, fake breasts and butts, these younger women are having a harder time finding a husband. Much harder time. Marriages.
Oh, okay. I mean, if that's occurring nowadays or like in the last 10 years, I don't know about those stats.
Well,
Okay. But if you can, if you have those stats, I'd be interested in hearing.
Marriages have been dropping for the past 10 years. They have. And women are wearing more and more that they at one time breast implants were for women who had mastectomies, right? They had breast cancer, they had it removed, and that's what it was
Right.
for. And someone came up with a brilliant idea to commercialize it. And you too, your A cups can now be D cups or whatever you like, right? So so women have commercialized, that's not the right word, but they are
the plastic surgeons have commercialized it, but the women have embraced it. Yeah,
and the women are exploiting that, right? So not just the cosmetic surgery, the makeup. There's more and more makeup. This foundation, and more women are buying. Like foundation has been around for a while, but a lot of women didn't use it, and like there are people in the chat saying it's bad for your skin. So a lot of women knew that, hey, don't put that stuff on your face. But now it's like it's become more competitive. Like, and Joe, just think in the 60s, there was this whole movement of, there was more natural. Women were much more natural, and that led right into the 70s. And those women would marry a guy who was, physically compatible with them, equally.
No, that's not the case. Because in the 60s and 70s, women it was a free love movement, but they wore makeup all the time.
I get that. I get that.
Wore,
but they didn't. The women who wore foundation were the minority. Now the women wearing foundation is the majority. So women who wore foundation and hid a lot, that wasn't the majority. But there were, I remember, at least in Jersey, I remember fads of women being proud to not wear makeup and being natural. I remember that in the 70s. And then somehow that died out. So there have been.
There may have been amongst maybe some black women, but white women in the 50s, 60s, 70s, etc. They wouldn't leave the house without makeup. Okay, I remember dating one chick who told me that even for her to go to the store, she would put on makeup.
Yep, I've heard that.
So,
but Joe, imagine being that. Imagine having to live that kind of life. What does that say? See, you're giving women too much credit. You think women are surviving this, but this is, if you have to lie about who you are, what does that say about you? What does that say about how you see yourself?
Something wrong.
Well, if you have to lie and you get exposed for it, I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
You are in the Joe, but like Ted said, cause I follow on this same category with you, Ted. Cause Marvin Gaye penned a song back there come out for I'm looking for the real thing. We ain't looking for no knockoff, Ted. That's where I'm coming from, Mr. Joe.
That's a good way to put it. Knockoff.
I don't want no plastic body. I want the real woman. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up, Jim? I said earlier, there had to be some psychological damage going on with them internally for them to go through that.
That's what I'm saying, Joe. See, Joe, what they do is they present it in a way that I'm so confident and I'm so this, I'm so that. But just knowing how a woman's brain works, women worry about things that men don't. Women create so much fear and anxiety. See, Joe, you're seeing women parading themselves even without makeup. Women suffer anxiety and depression and sleep deprivation way more than men because they have psychological things going on. Except you might see them as saying, I'm so independent and I'm so confident, but what's really going on is something else. And a lot of men don't understand that's happening with women. When you compound that with I have to put on makeup, all that does is it increase the anxiety for women.
Well, again, I'm going to have to see whatever studies are available out there because, from what I understand from women and what I know about them and from my experience with them, they look upon makeup as a godsend. They don't look at it as, oh,
Okay.
shit, if they find out. Okay?
Exactly.
So they look
Joe.
upon it as, okay,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then when they go,
Exactly, Joe.
and then when they go outside and the men look at them, they are not worried about whether or not the man will reject them the vast majority of the time.
All right, Joe.
If men accept them 98% of the time without makeup, they don't have these particular psychological conflicts. Well, 50% of the men reject them. I can see it.
Well, you know, it still boils down to attention. If she feels that this is the only way that she's going to get attention, she's going to wear the lie. She's going to wear the lie.
Well, yeah.
Because she can't live. I mean, she can't live.
Right.
Yeah, because she can't live because, I mean, if she don't get, if she sits there and nobody gives her attention, she's going to be ready to blow her brains out. She's going to go crazy.
You know, he's not kidding. He's not kidding. You know what the worst thing a woman complains about? The number one thing a woman complains about, look at the way men look at me. You know what the second thing is that women complain about? That they don't look at them. So he's right.
Right.
They love attention.
So Joe, that's the
Blow her
point,
brains out.
right? So without the makeup, Joe, then they won't get any attention. So, and they know
Right.
that, and that puts them in it.
Okay.
So that's a conflict. So when they look in the mirror, they're looking at someone who's not going to get attention, and they have to do something about it.
Hey, gentlemen, I got to be back at work in a couple hours, so I'll pick this up later on tonight. Okay?
Right.
You guys have a good time.
All right.
Check you out later on.
All right.
Take it easy, Reg.
All right.
I mean, I'm looking at some of these before and afters, and there's a handful of women who actually are still attractive without makeup.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
I'm gonna give you
some of them
something.
still is attractive.
I'm going to give. Okay, Kendra.
Yeah. You're right. It's just it's a delay on my end.
I'm going to give you something, Ted, which kind of buttresses your argument. A few years ago, there was a woman who was complaining about the paparazzi, and that's because this particular paparazzi reporter was taking pictures of celebrities, female celebrities without makeup. She complained about it, and she wanted a law passed that made it illegal for reporters with the National Enquirer or some other newspaper to take pictures of the celebrities with makeup off.
You
So,
just supported.
that might buttress your argument.
You just supported what I'm saying.
I just said that argument.
No. I mean, I heard you. I like that completely supports what I'm saying. It completely supports it. Yeah, like that. So there is. This is.
I think women undergo conflict if they get caught without the makeup, and if the people reject them, or if they don't get attention without the makeup. Again, if 98% of the men who marry them have seen them without makeup and marry them anyway, how can they have any conflict? Let me give you an analogy. Supposing I get, the name just slipped. A penile implant, right? I can blow it up. It's not natural, but I can blow it up, and I can fuck with it blown up, but it's surgically attached, right? Now, if she doesn't know I have it, right, she's going to think I have a natural dick. But if she sees it and we fuck and she doesn't mind after we fuck, Where's the problem for me? There's no problem. I'm satisfying her. She's happy. I'm happy. The feelings are still there for me. Where's the problem? Outside of the fact I got to blow it up.
But you
Oh,
see,
you're true.
but see, Joe, but Joe, here's the fact, Joe. You're in conflict with yourself, though. See, that doesn't go away just because you tricked her, right? And you tricked her, and you successfully tricked her. But when you're dealing with yourself, you're still in conflict with yourself, and so you have to hide the conflict.
No, I don't. Because 98% of the women, if the 98% of the women I'm doing are accepting me, I'm not going to worry about the 2%. What do I care about the 2% when I got 98% of them going, yeah.
I got it. What you still have to deal with, you have to deal with it.
I'm not big. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not. That's not going to bother me if 2% of the women are going to say no because of that. 98% say yes. It's like if I go for a job interview. If 2% of the people I go to see for a job interview tell me, "Hey Joe, we don't want you," but 98% of them say we want you, what do I care about the other 2%?
So here's another one. I saw this woman who had a very unattractive gut, her stomach, and I watched her put on this girdle that made her look really sexy. So when you watched how long it took her to put on that girdle and zip it up, and then when she put on clothes, she was very sexy. But the fact remains, she's in conflict with herself. Like you don't remove the conflict. You're still in conflict. This is why people often are so lousy with conflict resolution, because they get triggered by a conflict that's within. See, the secret to conflict resolution almost never has anything to do with the situation or the other person. It has to do with the conflict you're dealing with yourself. And all you need are something to remind you, or a trigger. And one thing that reminds a woman without makeup is coming out the shower and looking in the mirror, and she's still going to see that. Even though guys will accept her, even if she's married, she's still dealing with that. I mean, I've seen attractive women be bothered by their looks. Hold up, Kendrick. I've seen attractive women, not like drop dead gorgeous. They are attractive, hands down. They are well above average, and still attractive women, and without makeup, attractive, will still have this conflict as to whether they look good enough. Women worry a lot about being good enough. A lot.
Ted, I was wondering. I was just sitting there listening to you, and I thought here arose just being it's a mental illness, and I forget the name of it, but maybe you can help me. Cause they used to say bodybuilders used to suffer from it. He see himself in the mirror as fat, but when you look at him, he look like he built like Hercules or Adonis or somebody. Maybe that's the same conflict some of these women having with this makeup thing. It's a real diagnosis, it's a real illness to it. I can't remember the name of it.
I never
maybe that's what the 98% suffering from.
I never heard of it for bodybuilders.
The front house mirror.
Women who are anorexic deal with that.
Okay, so it goes along with the anorexia stuff.
Right. They still think they're fat even though they're skinny.
But with the makeup, they still think they're ugly, but they ain't. So make that make sense to me, please, if you can.
See, in women, that's another thing. They're suffering from. See, they're still suffering from it, Joe. Like a woman could be anorexic and married, and her husband loves her as she is. Yet when she looks in the mirror, she still sees a fat woman. That's the same thing with makeup. It doesn't go away, Joe, just
I will
because.
grant, uh, I will grant that some women will have that, but I'm going to say, I don't understand why any woman who puts on makeup to be accepted by men and to attract attention from other women, when they are accepted by men, in the vast majority of cases, how that's going to cause such a conflict. Now, if they
Because
get out of the shower and they still see their face, and they know that their face is ugly, and they wish they were as pretty as what they look like when they had makeup on, I can see that. But the conflict with whether or not they're going to be acceptable, I doubt it.
see what it's the same thing with being anorexic. It's what happens when they look in the mirror. See that's a lot. See, women are actresses. They've got a lot of guys thinking that all this stuff is going on, but it's they're dealing with so many what you would call insecurities, and looks is one of them.
Mhm.
And that doesn't, and it puts
Well,
them
I
in.
grant you that.
And so looks is a major part of it. That's why otherwise they wouldn't have to hide it.
Well, I grant you that. I say they do have to hide it, and yeah, look, the face is their currency. But when you're diagnosed with anorexia, you're having a real mental condition. Well, you can talk to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist says, look, you're only 125 pounds and you're 5'7". You should weigh about 140 pounds to be healthy. And take a look in the mirror. You are not fat. You've got a 29-inch waist. And she might pull some of her skin out and say, but look, I'm fat over here. I'm fat over here. She's pulling out the skin. She has a neurological problem. Now, the
That's
women
what
that
I
you're
was
talking
saying.
about, if they have a neurological problem, okay. But I doubt if most of the women who, when they are accepted by 98% of the men in America, are going to have that kind of conflict.
Of course, Joe, because see, the mirror doesn't lie to them. Just like with the anorexic, the mirror is always going to tell you the facts of life. And that's where the conflict begins. See, they can go out and fool people, but they know the real deal.
But they don't care.
Yes, they do,
Accepted.
Joe.
They're putting on makeup to be accepted.
That's what you're not understanding.
No, that's what you say they are.
Joe,
That's
women.
what you say. Look,
No,
you have to have women who are going to say that.
Joe.
My experiences with women,
They
and most men's experiences with women, is that yes, they would rather look like the pretty made-up chick, but they're not experiencing the conflict you're talking about. And I don't
because
see how they would
you know why,
if
Joe?
the purpose of it is to be accepted, and they are.
Do you know
Why?
why, Joe?
Yeah.
Because they're lying to you and you bought the lie.
And that's why it doesn't make a difference.
But see, it does,
If they're
Joe.
lying and I bought it, they don't care.
No, but Joe, but see, that's why there are so many problems in relationships. Because see, if you never resolve the conflict that you have, it comes out in different ways. It doesn't just disappear.
That's okay. That's a valid point under certain circumstances. When it comes to the makeup, when a woman's intention, let's say, is to lie to get the man, she has got the man. The man sees her warts and all and doesn't care. There's no conflict there. That conflict isn't going to be submerged. She has won. I've lied to him. He accepts the lie. We're together. He's going to accept the lie for the rest of our lives. No conflict. So I don't see what
because the
subliminal conflict is.
The conflict with herself never went away.
I'm saying it has. You're saying it hasn't.
It
I don't
doesn't.
understand why
It doesn't.
you don't.
It doesn't go away, Joe.
I don't.
It doesn't go
Well,
away.
some things don't go away overnight. I'm with both of you.
It never. Hold on, Kendrick. It never goes away. See, that's just the way a woman's brain works. She's always worried about things that are not even a problem. So even this is what I was saying. I've seen attractive women worry about these things. and have
Oh,
a
I know what
conflict.
you're saying now. Wait a minute. I think I know what you're saying. I think you're saying women in general. Yeah, because I know there are beautiful women who, even though they're beautiful without makeup, they have to worry about something. They have to worry about the eventual zit on the face, the eventual wrinkle. So if you're saying women in
No,
general are going to worry about, no,
I'm
is that what you're
saying
saying?
I'm saying that if a woman has to put on makeup to hide, that's a major conflict with herself. And even if a man
Okay.
accepts it,
Well,
even if a man accepts
mm,
it, right? It doesn't take away the
mhm.
fact that she still thinks she's not good enough. It doesn't make it go
Okay.
away.
All right.
It just doesn't.
All right. You're saying, all right. Look, if you got studies to back it up, okay, okay, from your empirical experience, that's fine. I say differently. So until there's some
What?
good scientific studies around, we both disagree.
Well, no, but Joe, you have to understand. You don't make a person's conflict. Like, let's say a woman is fat and it's a conflict, and she doesn't know how to lose weight, but the guy says, "I accept you as you are." There are still women who will still lose weight because it doesn't matter if the guy accepts it. It's how she sees herself. See, most of the problems between human
That's a good
beings,
example.
most of the problems,
That's a good example.
Joe, most of the problems between human beings is because of self-conflict and being fat, makeup. I
Okay.
mean, the list goes on. Even if society thinks you're fine, yet your conflict didn't go away just because people accepted you.
All right. Okay. If you say so. I don't agree with that, but
No,
that example of the
it's
fat
not.
person,
It's
I can understand that example
but see, it
because
doesn't.
the fat person.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. Tim.
No. Go ahead. The fat person.
The fat person has got the guy, but if she's still walking around society like a fat pig, she knows everybody's thinking of her as a fat pig. So yeah, that conflict still remains. But she may be very glad that the man that she married has accepted her, even though she's about 20 pounds overweight. So that particular conflict is gone with him. The conflict with society still remains.
But see, Joe,
So here, when you
you
were talking about makeup,
no,
yeah,
but Joe, see, you keep thinking
go
it's
ahead, Tim.
about being accepted and the conflict goes away. See, acceptance doesn't, the conflict is with self. This is what I said. The secret to conflict resolution is people have conflicts with themselves. They just hide them. So makeup is, once you have to hide it, there's a conflict. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to hide it. So women who wear makeup are hiding something. And here's the irony. When I was in college, they had this woman come in and speak to her. I don't remember what class it was, but this woman came in to talk to us about how to dress professionally. When you graduate, dress for the job you want, not the job you have, or
Right,
don't dress for
right.
don't dress as a college student. Blah blah. She went on, but she told us. And if you're a man and you have a mustache, shave it off, because men who wear mustaches are hiding something, and that doesn't look good in the workplace. It looks like you're hiding. And I was trying to think, then why do women wear makeup if you're not hiding something? So
Mhm.
so if you have to
Yeah, that's a
hide,
good question.
if you
Hmm.
have to hide something, okay. Now, if you told me a woman marries a guy, accepts her the way she is, and she goes out of the house never wearing makeup again for the rest of her life, I got that. That one I can see. But that's not the case, Joe.
But that's not the reason why the conflict has gone away. She's not wearing the make because she is wearing the makeup when she goes outside. She's no longer fat. She has covered up herself to society and to her man. Her man accepts it, and when she reveals that she's ugly, the man still accepts it.
Well,
So she doesn't. I don't know where you get. Okay, you have your observations and your
no, these
particular
are not
conclusions.
these are not
I have my
observations.
observations.
Joe, I don't talk from
Well, who?
observation. This is not opinion. If you study human
Okay then.
behavior, right? So you just look, the woman who's fat and wears a girdle to hide it and goes out, when she comes home and takes off the girdle, she's in conflict with that fat body. See, it doesn't matter if her husband
But she
accepted
doesn't
it.
want it. Yeah.
Her husband accepted
Okay.
it.
She wears a girdle when
She wears a
Right.
girdle when she goes out into the public. When she's home, her husband has accepted it. In the public, she cannot reveal that she's fat, so she hides it. Anytime you have to
and
hide
she doesn't
something,
give a shit.
see that you have to understand the psychological, see, the only reason you would hide something is because you're having a conversation with yourself. That's it. The mainstream calls it insecurity. I don't. But you're having a conversation, and it's in your neural path. See, this is what you have to understand, Joe. Just because a man accepted you didn't make the conversation in your neural paths go away. It's still there, and it still bothers you.
I agree with you.
And
Ted,
so
I'm agreeing with you.
so
When the
husband
when that conflict is deeply entrenched.
It is, and it doesn't go away. Wearing makeup, being accepted by your husband, like what's in your neural paths, it's there, and the husband can't make that go away.
Okay, let's talk. Right, let's talk about the neural network. What percentage of women do you feel have this kind of conflict? In America, let's say there's 100 million women.
Every woman in the
They're all
world,
wearing makeup.
every
How
woman,
many of them?
every woman in the world, and they did over 46,000 neural imaging, and they took a man and woman, put them in a room at the same time. They hooked them up to neural imaging, and they put the man in the same and woman in the same situation at the same exact time in the same place. And the woman's brain had more activity because the women were worried about things, and men were just kind of direct. Men were not worried about things. They dealt with the situation, or they saw the problem, and women created all these problems in their head that didn't exist. And the women put themselves in conflict. The prison experiment that they did back in the 70s with the men, they did the same thing with women, and it fell apart.
Right.
It fell apart with the women immediately.
That was a Stanford experiment.
Because the women were in, it was too much conflict. They couldn't deal with the pressure. Women are in constant, just from a neurobiological perspective, they are in so much conflict with themselves. It's why they suffer from anxiety and depression way more. They have 3.5 times more suicide attempts than men. Men commit the suicide. They execute it, pun intended, and they're successful. Women just attempt it.
Pun intended.
Yeah, pun intended. So Joe, I'm speaking from brain and human behavior facts, not my opinion or observation. So these things.
Okay, well then that begs the question of how much of a conflict is that, is with regards to the situation of makeup. All right, so look, I'm agreeing with you, and I had agreed with you before that women are going to be in conflict about just about anything anyway. They're insecure creatures.
Right. Right.
So they could still walk out there with makeup and wish that they didn't have to, but I don't think that particular conflict is going to be high on their particular list of conflict.
Yes, it is. That's how they attract. That's how they attract the man, Joe. That's what they have for attracting a man. Their looks. It's number one on the list. A woman's looks are
the number
huge.
One agenda. Yeah. The number one agenda would be that. I don't think the conflict would be that high.
It's number one. It's the number one priority. Joe, that's the number one priority for them. How the hell could it not be high on the list when it's the number one priority?
Because they've resolved that particular situation.
They didn't resolve it.
Yes, women will worry about it, and they will say to themselves, I wish I didn't have to wear makeup. I wish I looked like my sister, who's a natural beauty. But, again, that particular conflict would be fifth on the list out of 5, and it would be other ones, because that conflict has been resolved.
It hasn't.
But
see, Joe, you have to understand.
And that.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going. Please, keep going.
And no, I'm finished. I'm still going to say the conflict is, if it's going to be a conflict, this is going to be a major one because of the acceptance of it. They still worry about it, but they're going to worry about their nails probably even more than whether or not their makeup makes them acceptable. They know they're accepted with the makeup their boyfriends, their husbands have. So They
See,
can worry
you're
about it, but
Joe,
they're going to worry about a
Joe,
broken nail even more.
Joe, you're giving women way too much credit. You're overestimating them. When they look in the mirror without when they look in the mirror without makeup, there is reality for them.
Uh-huh.
And that doesn't go away. Even though they know they're tricking you. It's like a person who lies to you. They know they're lying to you, right? And they know they have to deal with the lie. Now they might move on, but they still know they lied. It's like cheating, right? You made it through college and you cheated,
Yeah.
right? You cheated all the way through college. You paid people to do your papers and all this other stuff. And then when you get a job and you make it through, but you know what? The fact that you didn't study anything, it's still going to be there. And you're going to get triggered because you're in conflict with yourself. See, when people do things that
That's
are
right.
that
All right.
that go against who they naturally are, it creates a conflict and it will make them very defensive. Talk to a woman about her looks and see how defensive she is, and you'll see that the conflict didn't go away. Just go to
That's
some
because
woman.
you're talking about it.
But see,
But if I say I don't care, if I say I don't care, baby, what you look like with that makeup off, I've seen you with the makeup off. Then what do we got to talk about?
No. Okay, I'm saying
You
you
still
are.
gonna talk to me about the conflict you have?
No, Joe, you're not hearing me. You, Joe, are not married to my knowledge, right? So if you just randomly
Right.
go up to 1,000 women over time and say, I bet you don't look so great without makeup, you'll see the conflict come to life. She's going to get defensive.
Well,
Yeah. Well, okay. So now,
Yeah.
Joe, hear me out, right?
Yeah.
I go to the
Yeah.
gym. I go to the gym a lot, right? And if someone told me that I was a
Right.
fat fuck, I don't even know if I would waste my time laughing, right? It would be an absurd thing. Like I would just feel like the person's reaching because there's no conflict with me in being fat. I've never been fat my entire
Right.
life, right? So I have no conflict about that. So there's no trigger attached to it. So it never was there and it doesn't even have to go away. But if you have something that triggers you, it means you're still in conflict with it.
Right. If it triggers you.
Right. So
And if the person has sufficient conflict. The
no,
thing we're talking about is the degree of conflict between you and me.
no, it's not
Okay.
degree. If you're still in, see, this is what I'm getting at, Joe. This is, and the big picture is this. I'm saying to men, if a woman is wearing a lot of makeup, you in normal everyday language, as a man, you're going to have to deal with her insecurities. Even if you say I accept it, it didn't go away. Unless she does the work to make that go away, that's still going to be there for women and it's going to be a trigger. And some of the triggers that may happen that you don't see coming is you have an attractive neighbor or a new coworker who's a woman who's attractive, and if your wife feels like you may be more interested in her because that woman's more attractive, especially if it's a woman with no makeup, your woman's going to be triggered by that, even though you're not even interested in the other woman. What the conflict with herself is going to trigger her, and it's going to be problems. It's going to constantly be problems.
Let me get this straight, Ted. It's one thing you just started saying that if she thought that I thought the other girl was attractive. So you're saying that if I'm accepting a woman who looks like a 9 with makeup, looks like a 6 or a 7 without makeup,
Right.
and we have a new neighbor, and that neighbor is attractive.
More attractive.
Okay. Even if my wife knows I'm not interested in this woman at all because of other characteristics that she has, she's still going to be in conflict.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's more attractive. I saw you.
Okay.
I saw the way you looked at her. This is these are things that come out where you're like wondering, where the hell did this come from? Honey, I'm not interested in that woman. You know, that you get what I'm saying?
Okay, all right, that, okay. Yeah, I do. I'm just saying to the degree that the makeup matters in terms of being a conflict, it doesn't rank high in the list. But with that example, but see, this woman has a conflict because, as you're saying, she has a conflict within her. She's already insecure. But if she
That's my
absolutely
whole
trusts
point,
me,
Joe. That's the
then
whole
it doesn't.
point.
Huh?
That's the whole point that I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Like the insecurity doesn't make the makeup doesn't make that go away.
But in the case that you just brought up, if she trusts me, is she still going to be insecure and tell me when you still look at her?
Unless Joe, she does the work to make that conflict go away. If she doesn't do the work,
Okay.
it's going to be it will come up and you'll be wondering, like, this is out of left field. What's going on? And she may never tell you. Like she may be happy. You accept me the way I am. What you have to get, Joe, is she hasn't fully accepted her for who she is. Because when she looks in the mirror, she sees a woman who's not good enough. And there are women who date guys. How do I want to say this? There are women who will date guys and they know they look better than the guy. And But if she still has to wear makeup to look good, to feel good about herself, she's got a conflict that doesn't go away, even though she believes she's with a guy who should be the guy should be grateful and lucky to be with her because he normally would never get a woman that good looking. You follow me on that one?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
See, you're overestimating women. That women have sold men, they have all this confidence, and they really don't. And makeup and wearing makeup. See, if you have to lie about something, then you're not as good as you are pretending to be.
Okay, I'm getting your point. Um, yeah. If it's that deeply entrenched, then women are really, I mean, then there's nothing that they're not insecure about.
Women deal with a lot of that. It's mainly because of the way their brain works. But I think between TV, even before social media may have made it worse. But if you just look at TV and the movies and the glamour and the magazines with the models on it, right? You hear this all the time. Women are always feeling insufficient, right? So if you remind her that she's insufficient, she's going to be angry with you. Like I said, if you tell me I'm fat,
Right.
if you tell me I'm fat, Joe, I'm never going to be upset with you. I'm never going to be triggered. I might laugh. I might say you're reaching, but I'm never going to be triggered by you calling me fat. So I don't have to hide. There's nothing that will bother me about that. You follow me? It's the same
Okay.
thing. It's
Right.
no different. It doesn't matter what the thing is you have to hide. See, I don't have to hide being fat because I'm not. I don't even have to think about it. But if a woman has to think every day about the way she looks, so what I'm saying to men is that if a woman has to lie about anything, hell, imagine a person who has to lie about being intelligent and they're really not, and you figure it out in no time. They're going to be very defensive, and they're going to tell you you're like
Yeah, of course.
they'll tell you you're arrogant, Joe, right? And they're like, well, I went to
Right.
school and I have a degree and I have more degrees than you, Joe, and who do you think you are? And um,
Right.
Steve Jobs did one semester at college and he was a brilliant guy. Maybe he was a genius. I don't know, but he did that without a college education. So someone with a PhD could
Yeah,
feel
same thing with Bill Gates.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Right. I mean, there are right.
So
There are people who are college graduates and are college. I understand you. Yeah, but see, that guy knows that he's not as bright as what he's trying to make the world believe that
No.
he is, and he's going to get caught. He feels someday.
And that's the same with a woman wearing makeup.
And now we're going back to that difference.
It's the
Okay.
same. I'm using
Because the
analogies.
woman may feel like, okay, you're saying the woman has internal conflicts no matter what, even if she's a 10 with makeup or without makeup, she's going to have some sort of conflict, maybe about a list in some way.
Well,
Okay, I'm saying that yes, she may have a conflict about the makeup, but not as great as you think it is, because the makeup resolves the problem.
it didn't. It didn't. If she's a 10, if she's a 10, that's a different conversation. I mean, I met a woman who she said she was a 9, and she actually was pretty hot, right? So she wasn't less than an 8 without makeup,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
so that's a different story. But a woman who's a 5, maybe even a 6 and below, that's going to be a problem. Like a woman who's a solid 7, a woman who's a solid 7, no,
Yeah.
a woman who's a solid 7 knows she's not a 10, and she knows she's not a 5. So she kind of accepts, I'm above average. I'm not the hottest thing. I can make myself look better. Like she kind of accepts it. There are some women who I dated a woman who I call a 9. Some people might call her a 10. And she once said to me, she said, I know there are women more beautiful than me. I know there are women with better bodies. I know there are women who are smarter than me, women who have better hair and nails than me. And she went down a list. She said, but I don't think there's a woman
Right.
who put it all together as well as I have, like the complete package. But I know there are women more beautiful
Right.
than me. Like so she was a solid 9, maybe a 10. And walking down the street with her, you saw the reaction of men of all races. So she was gorgeous, like just flawlessly gorgeous. And she accepted that there are still women more beautiful. So imagine if you're a 5, you've got a lot to deal with and to hide and cover up.
This my thing. I wonder, do you think some of these therapists and some of these professional help can help some of those women with that? Cause that's a serious thing.
It is. And so what I'm getting at is there are often, like, that's just one example, Joe. There are often conflicts in relationships, and your significant other doesn't really understand the source of the conflict. So you, Joe, you could be dating a woman. I've never seen you, Joe. So let's say you're dating a woman who's a solid 6 without makeup, and she puts on makeup. You accept her. You like her body, and she sees you look at some woman who's a solid 8 and it's a woman not wearing makeup. Your woman may be triggered by that and wonder, while he's accepted me, what if he wakes up one day and feels like he doesn't want to be with me, or whatever the trigger is. So it didn't go away because the reality is in the mirror for her. So we got some good, the big exclusive. What's going on? You said you even have girlfriends or wives getting mad at their boyfriends, husbands for cheating on them in a dream they had while sleeping. Yeah, I mean, right. So the mind is still working. If she trusts you, she's doing it from a female. Joe, if she trusts you, she's doing it from a female perspective. You're trying to understand the feminine version of trust through a male value system. Interesting, big exclusive. What women say and what women think are two different things. I think that is Joe's problem. He trusts their words and not their actions. Um, yeah, I mean, women have, like the guy Max Factor said, We're not selling makeup, we're selling confidence. And women bought that. That's what they're applying to their face. Now I can go out into the world and be confident. But it's just an act. Yep. Hey, chaos for you, right? It could be a dream, or you could be walking down the street and how could you not see other people walking down the street and you just happen to see a woman who's beautiful? Your woman could be upset and she may never say anything, but she may be upset with you all day for that. And it's because of the way she sees herself. And yeah, Tony G, that could make her think she could lose access to a man's resources.
Well, that's a delusion to somebody, some neck job been told them that they're entitled to every man's resources and his wealth and all this old goof stuff. But that's not the case here. But they're gonna find out pretty soon.
So yeah, absolutely. I want to, I pulled up let me see if I can, where did I put that? There it is. I didn't get to listen to these videos, so I don't know what they're going to say.
If you're struggling with gun,
but the BBC did a short clip, 2-minute clip on why. I have no idea what they're going to say.
human beings have been using makeup.
But we're going to hear what they say about why women use makeup.
Human beings have been using makeup for over 4,000 years, so they must have developed some inkling of what they're trying to achieve with it, what buttons they're trying to press. Even in ancient Egypt, women were already using the same techniques they do today. They enhanced their eyes with coal and used iron and copper ores to decorate their face. Dermatologist Dr. Vale Reese thinks makeup has one main purpose.
Well, makeup really tries to minimize any discoloration of the skin, any irregular contour, and then better allow attention to be drawn to certain features, such as the eyes or the lips, which we as humans want to accentuate, or at least in women at least.
You put on the base to sort of even everything out, and it's like making a flat, clean canvas, and then you start painting.
So how do we paint features and why? Well, eye makeup can make the eyes look bigger and therefore younger and sexier. Also, darkening the upper lids can produce so-called bedroom eyes.
Why do bedroom eyes exist? Why do we associate that with sexiness? It's because in the last stage of sexual encounters, a moment or two before our orgasm, one of the muscles that keeps the upper eyelid up relaxes and the eyes begin to droop. So someone who has bedroom eyes, in a sense, looks like they're always on the verge of orgasm. That is, we're extending.
Permanent characteristic that
So someone wants to have bedroom eyes so they look like they're always on the verge of about to climax, about to come. That's interesting. So as we've got about a minute left, so let's see what else they say. This is the BBC, and I'm under fair use. I'm only showing this for educational purposes.
reminds us of the way we look at that particular moment.
Without even thinking about it.
Next, lipstick. Psychologists argue that when you get aroused, your lips get fuller and redder, and that's what red lipstick is trying to mimic. When people are sexually aroused, the psychologists tell me, the lips, for example, will not only get larger, they're becoming gorgeous, more blood in the lips, so they actually get a darker color.
You read Desmond Morris on that, didn't you?
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know whether all of that was right, but what I was talking about is just the fact that
Yeah. I think it's also rubbish.
I think it's rubbish.
Absolute rubbish. He said that women do red lips, that's mirroring the red vulvas of chimpanzees when they're in heat.
Yeah, well, that's obvious, isn't it?
that was interesting. Let's see if we can. Interesting. Let's see what. I think they're gonna take this on.
Bringing you the best.
I think they're going to. I think this video is going to randomly stop people on the street.
Best of entertainment is black and white.
Hi, this is BCTV. I'm Paige. I'm Hannah. We've been interviewing people today about what they think about makeup and what men think and what women think, why they wear it. Is it a confidence thing or is it just that they like the way it looks? Do you prefer girls with makeup or without makeup?
just feel like I'm not seeing an honest representation of that person's face. Apply the makeup perfectly or correctly, cool. But if you just dip your face in a bucket of cake, it's not nice, is it? It depends. If it's too excessive, then it can be, because sometimes I love a girl who's really confident in herself. You know, not to say that she can't wear a lot of makeup, but I like a girl who has a sort of fine balance, not too much, just the right. Looks nice. It's quite good.
It's a bit iffy because some people pack it on a bit too much and don't need to, especially foundation. Other times, it's all right.
It's okay, but the least the better, really.
Do you wear makeup?
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I do. Why do females wear makeup?
I think there's many reasons. Say to emphasize like the parts of my face that I find to be nice. Yeah, that's why I would. It's not to wear like to put like on a show. It's also not to put on a mask. It's just like to emphasize your beauty.
A few blemishes and then also just to make you feel better when on makeup. It's like playful makeup.
I think it's just a way to express yourself and to express your personality and enhance your natural beauty and enhance your own features.
It's just just to look good at times. It's not an everyday thing. It just makes me feel nicer, I guess. Why do you think most females wear makeup?
2 questions. To hide flaws or to just up their confidence in it, so they'll cover their flaws and increase their confidence. I guess there's a level of insecurity there. You know, I think overall though, I think it's individuality. It's a sense of individual. Cover up spots and stuff like that. Insecure.
Yeah, they feel like they need to.
Yeah.
So you think every woman that wears makeup is because she's insecure?
Most. But some actually really don't need it. And it's...
Would you ever go out without makeup on?
Yeah, I go out without wearing any makeup. Like this morning, I came from Germany and I had nothing on my face, so.
Yeah, I usually go to work without makeup.
I'll have certain days if like my skin's a little bit bad and I might not want to wear like a lot of foundation or something, or I want to wear more foundation. But I do actually enjoy not wearing makeup.
Do you feel less confident when you haven't got as much makeup on sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah, but not really. Oh yeah, I think like as you know, any female, like if you got with completely nothing on, then you can feel a little bit bare and a little bit naked.
So wait, guys, we're getting some honesty, right? So they feel confident with no makeup, but then they catch that the Asian woman caught herself, like, oh my God, I just admitted that on a camera, but not really. So if they're honest, I guess we'd have to put some truth serum in there. But there's some level of honesty in them saying that they feel more confident with makeup. See, that has, even if a man accepts her, the way she looks at herself has nothing to do with the man.
Oh yeah, I can be definitely insecure on some days.
Definitely, some people are really insecure about how they look and they hide behind the makeup. And especially teenagers, when you're growing up, you see a lot of celebrities looking all glam and you want to copy that on the setting and what I'm doing. But it's true that sometimes I tend to lack a little bit of confidence without makeup. And what do you say to men that think that they don't like women with makeup or think that women are fake that wear makeup?
I would tell them that I think if every woman would run around wearing any makeup, I think they would find half of them to be really ugly.
Oh. Oh, did she actually say that? Oh my God. I think we have to run that back.
Makeup, that wear makeup.
I would tell them that I think if every woman would run around wearing any makeup, I think they would find half of them to be really ugly.
You see, there's a little bit of honesty of women saying, if we didn't wear makeup, you would think half of us were really ugly. Yeah, hey, Tony G, right. They go home and take off the makeup, right? But if they go out into the public, they are not going to be accepted based on how they look. And this woman said, if women go out without makeup, men are going to find half of them to be really ugly. Those are not my words. So how do you think a woman is going to feel knowing that she's in that half that's going to be ugly? And hell, maybe 3/4 will think they're ugly, and it's only half that are.
I like him, Mr.
So these are not my words. Joe missed out on.
You can't make this stuff up to you.
Hey, exactly. I didn't make it up. And I see you guys, Woody Mac Millions, Big 125, Exotic Sugar. I see you guys in the house. I know you can hear this. Jared Hunts, Brad. Yeah, I got you guys. They're interviewing women just randomly. So women are wearing makeup. They're saying to have and someone made a great comment here, right? So if women want to or using makeup to look to
90 seconds.
To mimic sexual arousal. So some makeup makes women look like they're always down to do the nasty. Then when men approach, she tosses out those she thinks are low value. Except she's making up her face to mimic sexual arousal. Very interesting. But don't look at me as an object, though. Don't look at me as a sex object. It's specifically
60 seconds.
Even though I'm making up my face, sexual arousal, you should never look at me as a sex object.
I agree with you as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, she said, I agree with you. Oh, man, that's heavy.
Hi, thanks for watching Black Careful. Make sure to subscribe.
That's pretty heavy. See if we can find one more that
Who the world was that, Ted? She sound good.
Why? Let's see it. Take out. Look at.
Give me 15 seconds.
Okay. It's very interesting. So there was a bit of honesty.
10 seconds.
A bit of honesty, guys, from the women, knowing that without makeup they don't look good.
Well, hey guys. Well, first.
Whoa. She's pretty excited here. See, this is how women see themselves. This has nothing to do with men. And yes, they do want to attract men, but the way women see themselves, this is very telling. Their ability to be accepted, and as you guys are saying, have access to resources. So let's see what this woman says about why women wear makeup.
First off, as you can tell, I'm in a different location because I get incredibly sick of having to make my bed every time I want to film a video. So why not just sit on this uber convenient couch? But no reason to be mad about it. Don't worry, I even brought Queenie with me. There she is. Good old girl. Love you to death. So if you feel like being upset about the Queen not being here, just remember that the Queen is definitely boring a hole through my skull. So from the title of this video, you can tell that I'm going to be talking about makeup today and the science behind makeup. Why do we wear it? Why do we feel the need to paint our faces with crazy colors and then go out in public. I was randomly thinking that this morning when I was putting on my makeup, and I was like, you know what I would love if just every woman just didn't wear makeup and we were all just judged on what our faces looked like all the time. Like there just was an even playing field. I mean, we don't have to put on makeup now, but in a way you kind of do to keep up with everyone else wearing makeup, as sad as that sounds. But that's a personal problem for me. I mean, if you don't want to wear makeup, that's awesome and good on you for being confident. Me, on the other hand, I like a little mascara every now and then. Either way, I wanted to go in depth and see why we wear makeup and how it could have possibly become the giant industry that it is today, because guess what? Over $40 billion is spent on makeup every single year. It is a $40 billion industry. That's insanity to me. So we're going to go in depth and try to figure this out together. I found an amazing article online that explained everything I ever had a question about makeup, and I think you guys are really gonna enjoy it. So going back in time a little bit, makeup's been used for centuries. Archaeologists have discovered evidence of body painting over 50,000 years ago in South Africa. So trust me, body modification is not a new thing. People have been wearing makeup for a very long time, depending on what your definition of makeup is. If you want to be a little stricter and say that makeup is things that you apply to your face to make yourself look more beautiful and feminine, we'll go with about 3,500 years ago, when the Egyptians and Sumerians actually used coal eyeliner, crushed scarab beetles, crushed berries, and things that can make you change your appearance without actually being manufactured makeup that we know of today. Now, the root of the question is, why did we even do this in the beginning? Why 50,000 years ago did we start painting our bodies? And why 6,000 years ago did we start putting stuff on our faces? Well, I'm about to tell you why. The funny thing is, we can actually see the reasoning behind makeup in the animal kingdom. If you've ever watched the Animal Planet or any nature documentary for any length of time, you know that eventually you hear about some crazy mating ritual or how different the female looks and all these other crazy things that animals do to attract a mate. The reasoning behind these crazy rituals is basically so that a female can portray to a male that they are fertile and ready to have healthy babies. Oh yeah, let's get it on. During ovulation, studies have shown that both sexes think females are more attractive. Ovulation is the most likely time for a female to get pregnant, and also a time when estrogen levels rise. Because estrogen rises, blood circulation also rises, and
So interesting. So, here we are back to makeup and sex. There's a correlation between makeup and sex. So women are walking around presenting themselves as sexually available objects.
and this causes flushed cheeks and red lips. Yep, that's the explanation behind blush and rouge. Beautiful. Love me some lipstick. So basically that means when your cheeks are flushed and your lips are flushed, it looks like you're ready to do the dirty. That's right. Or rather, that you're ready to produce offspring. Those same flush features happen during sexual arousal as well, so it always looks like you're ready and down for the dirty if you got this thing going on. That's right, everybody. Who would have known that makeup was related to sex? I did. Now that you know all about why lips and cheeks are important, you must be asking yourself, Arden, then why is it so important now to have fully filled in eyebrows and beautiful eyeliner and, all those other things that seem so important in the female face for some reason? Well, I can explain that for you with a study done by Dr. Richard Russell, who was an assistant professor of psychology at the Gettysburg College. He did a study that shows that contrast is most important in the female face. Before I talk about the actual study, I want to try it on you guys. So I'm going to show you guys two pictures and keep in your brain which one you think is female and which one is male. This shouldn't be too hard for you guys. I was actually quite flabbergasted from this. So here you go. Here are the pictures. Here's the first one, and here is the second one. Alrighty, now that you've got in your head which one is male and which one is female, I'm going to tell you guys that there is actually no gender in either picture. That's right. Basically, what Dr. Richard Russell did, he put together a collage of a bunch of different human features from male and female, and then upped the contrast on one of them, which I'm assuming is the one you guys thought was female. The more pale skin and contrasting features make the face appear more feminine. The more feminine you appear, the more fertile you appear, and thus why we have to contrast our face, why contouring is so important, why your eye makeup is so important, why you have to fill in your eyebrows. Who would care about any of that stuff if it didn't make us look more feminine. So next time you're applying your eyeliner or filling in your eyebrows, just know that that is actually making you look more feminine. Like, we didn't already know that, but science proved it. Now that you know why we put on eye makeup, blush, and lipstick, it's time to tackle foundation. Well, that one's actually pretty easy. The older you get, the more battle scars you're gonna get, whether that be wrinkles or actual battle scars, discoloration of the skin pigmentation, different things like that show aging. The more pure and baby-faced you are, the more youthful you look, and thus the more fertile you look.
Going back to sexual market value, huh? Still fertile, right? So it's still leading to sex. I'm sexually fertile. This is what women want out of makeup. So if they go out without it, even if the husband or boyfriend accepts, there's still this obsession with it.
Reasoning why we put on foundation. There you go. So overall, makeup is just one big mating ritual, which is weird to think about, but scientifically, that's what it is. What's funny is, as much as makeup is supposed to attract the opposite sex, 1 out of 5 men think their significant other wears too much makeup or wishes they didn't wear any at all, and 1 in 10 men think that women shouldn't wear makeup at all, like any woman. So men think that women shouldn't wear makeup at too much makeup or wishes they didn't wear any at all, and 1 in 10 men think that women shouldn't wear makeup at all.
So that's interesting. So we were talking a little while ago about how if a woman is married and her husband accepts her, that she shouldn't have any sort of psychological insecurities. And what she just said, makeup is part of a mating ritual. So if a woman was only doing this to attract a man and keep him, she would be wearing makeup at home and only at home. But yet there are women, the husband accepts her without makeup, yet when she goes out, she's still sort of simulating this mating ritual, and she doesn't want to go out the house without it. And that's interesting. She may be married or claims to be happily married, yet she still participates in this mating ritual. I think that's interesting, right? So if we're just looking at the psychology of what's really behind and driving women wearing makeup, this is kind of complex. There's a lot going on. I prefer dating women who either don't wear it and don't wear it, right? Because they don't need it. And they're comfortable when I ask them to not wear it.
If that's the case, Ted, I wonder if any of these women, like you just said, if they comfortable walking around the house butt naked for their man. Cause that's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's a little deeper than just makeup, man.
Right. Or wearing the sexy, the sexy shorts around the house or the mini skirt. Like, will she dress sexy just to stay at home with her husband? Or is that for going out? Right? That's a really good question, Kendrick. Definitely. Let's see what else this woman has to say. And Tony G, hypergamy never sleeps, right? Never. Even when you've got the guy, still hypergamy never sleeps.
Like any woman. So men say they don't like makeup. You've probably heard that from your boyfriend or your significant other, that they just would rather you have your natural face. The funny thing is, in most studies, when shown different pictures of the same woman wearing makeup and no makeup, most men will pick the woman with the makeup on. When shown a picture of a woman wearing a lot of makeup or a woman wearing a natural face of makeup, most people will say they choose the girl with the natural makeup on because they think it is no makeup. That just shows that men don't really know what makeup looks like. If you're wearing a giant smoky eye, a man might not necessarily like it. And overall, as much as men complain about makeup, it seems like they're voting on the makeup side. A lot of this might be that women actually gain more confidence after putting on makeup or feeling beautiful, and thus they're more likely to show more of their personality and be more outgoing towards men. So maybe it isn't that men really like your makeup, it's just that they like you, and you are more likely to be you if you feel confident.
And this gets to the psychological aspect that even though a woman is married, it's still like, that's what Max Factor said, we're selling confidence. And so there are lots of women who depend on makeup to determine how they interact with men or even amongst other women. It's very interesting to date a woman who doesn't wear makeup, and like, yeah, it's very interesting to be with that kind of woman.
So it doesn't mean that men don't like makeup, it just means that they don't know what makeup they like. And that's just a generalization of all men. I'm sure my ex-boyfriend knew when I was wearing makeup and when I definitely wasn't wearing makeup. Yeesh, that's another story. So the overarching message of this is the science behind makeup is that you want to appear more fertile and ready to make babies. However, nowadays I think makeup is more of an expression of yourself. I wear makeup because I like makeup, it makes me feel more confident, and when I want to wear crazy makeup, I will. Because who doesn't love crazy blue eyeliner? It might not necessarily attract me a mate, but gosh dang it, I love me some blue eyeliner. So this video is not meaning to say that you shouldn't wear makeup, or should wear makeup, or should wear a lot of makeup, or a little makeup. Wear whatever makeup you want to wear. It's all about you, your face, your confidence level. Do whatever you want. Just know that inevitably you are playing into a mating ritual centuries old. How interesting is that? I love hearing that. All right, let's just be happy we're not putting bat poop on our eyelashes anymore, or cyanide.
Okay. All right. So the BBC and what she said is it's pointing to it points to sex and sexual attraction, mating rituals, fertility, sexual arousals, bedroom eyes, all of this. So women are presenting. So it's almost like two lies, right? One is hiding, misrepresenting how she looks. Two is presenting that I'm sexually available. This is my mating ritual, and I want to appear as sexually aroused as possible, but don't talk to me. There's this dichotomy, right? Want to look, this is another lie, right? So I want to look sexually aroused, and I want to look like I'm doing a mating ritual, but I don't want to be approached. Why do men approach me? Like this is more conflict. Tony G, plausible deniability, huh? Right, exactly. So very interesting. And so then you have to then ask a bigger question. I guess that there's a if makeup is such a big part of your personal makeup, right? Like who you are, how you present yourself to the world. It's almost like women are constantly in this lane of deception, and yet they're saying, "Accept me as I am." However, I'm not presenting myself as I am. I'm presenting myself as doing a mating ritual. I don't want you to sexually objectify me. I'm presenting myself as though I'm in this state of ecstasy and about to come any moment. Don't treat me like a sex object. I'm hiding. I don't want you to see how I really look. I don't think you will accept me. Like all of this is going on. I mean, it just adds to confusion, and it's a pretty ugly path of deceit. And we're being told to accept women as they are. Well, if we do that, then we would accept them as being deceitful and ugh. How do you even do? How do you conduct business? How do you conduct trade and commerce with that kind of mindset? Yeah, hey Tony G, I know that. Like right? So even in the workplace, right? Sexual harassment. You know, one guy can say, "Hey, Mary, you look really nice," and the next guy says, "You look really hot." But the first guy, because of the way he appears, right? The guy who says hot uh, doesn't get reported to HR, but the guy who's kind of nerdy and she doesn't like him, he gets reported to HR because he said you look nice. Even that's deceitful. Like not a woman not mind not a woman being perfectly comfortable with a compliment from a man from one man and demeaning another man for making the same or more tamed compliment, right? So and you know, I did a video. Ooh, maybe it was last year. I read about a case study of a female only company that failed because it was female only, and all the women wanted high salaries. But one of the things that in the article was written by the founder of the company. One of the things she talked about is that the women explicitly talked about sex. They talked about how they felt during sex last night, the size of the guy's penis. They gave details. I mean, these women are talking about sex. And if men do that, uh, then we can lose our job. That's sexual harassment. So it's you could say women are deceiving us by saying they don't want sex to be discussed in the workplace. But if you put all women in one place, they have no problem talking about sex. They don't want men to do this. So it's got to make you wonder. You know, I said that in college, someone came in to speak to us about how to dress professionally, dress for the job you want. And the woman told us that if a man has a mustache in the workplace, it means he's hiding behind something. So all men should shave off their mustache. So what is it women are really hiding behind? So it just I'm sort of teasing out this conversation. So if women wear makeup because it's part of a mating ritual, it makes her look like she's at the in moments of ecstasy, um, sexual arousal. It hides things. Like all of this is presenting that which does not exist. A mask. I mean, and it really is. Makeup really is a mask. So what is it women are really hiding behind? What is it? What is it like the magician that does the trick that's under the table? Are women really presenting a trick, a magic trick to men in general, like across the board? 70% of divorce women, and they're snatching resources. Like where are women going with all this deceit? If you treat me like a sex object, I'm going to complain. If it's at work, sexual harassment. If it's in a relationship, it's this horrible thing. Except really, what they're presenting is sex, sexual arousal, fertility, mating dance. I mean, that has to put women in constant conflict with themselves unless they are attempting to put men in a state of chaos so that men can't see the actual deceit that's taking place. So on the table, you see all the mating rituals and the sex object. But underneath the table, you never see what's really happening. So our men, are we being had? We're being told that being masculine is toxic. Are we being completely had, guys? Hey, Tony G. Yeah, I had a conversation. Yes, women hate betas, and maybe I wonder if they're just waiting for the beta to say sit down and shut up, and that's why they're acting crazy. Interesting, big exclusive, right? So I guess she wouldn't want to tell what kind of man she was trying to attract. A lot of women don't admit that. Yep, interesting, Tony G. Right, the low class men, right? But they're attracting all men. Oh, yeah. Listen, the problem in our country and Western civilization is diminished in the lack of masculinity. No, I just wonder. So is it that women are just in so much conflict with themselves that they are confused? So what they really want is absolutely a man who's powerful and masculine. And because so many men have listened to the feminists and went on this journey seeking their feminine side when there was no feminine side to seek. You're just a man. It's okay with being a man. And you don't need to find the feminine side. Just be a masculine, be a man. So are women technically rebelling against men who went on the journey to find their feminine side? So I'm going to say something that I think a lot of guys can relate to. If you are not giving your woman attention on a particular day, right? And it's not that you were trying to ignore her, you're occupied, right? And or it could be over a time period between work. So when a woman often wants more attention from you, what does she do? She throws a temper tantrum. She gets upset. She starts doing things that technically push you away. But really what she's trying to do is to get you to come closer to her. So if we look at society as a whole, as men go on this journey to find their feminine side, what women want is the masculine side back. Get away from the journey of finding your feminine side. Us women want you to be masculine, and some men have abandoned their masculine side to look for the feminine side. So when a woman wants something from you, she often, most of the time, she doesn't just ask for what she wants. She throws a temper tantrum. She acts crazy. She acts moody. Maybe she wants sex, but she wants something from you that you're not supplying. And so what I'm getting at is that perhaps what we're seeing in the US especially is that women are just waiting for men to come back in full force with masculinity. And as long as too many men go searching for their feminine side, women don't know how to ask for what they really want. Yeah, Imperator, it's not a man's job to teach women how to communicate. Technically, uh, but technically, it because, and I'm going to say something that I've never heard anyone say. There's no such thing as female nature. It doesn't exist. And all the men who are out there pontificating that they understand female nature, you can't understand something that doesn't exist. And I'm saying there's no such thing as female nature, because as long as men are being absolute men, being masculine, without shame, women will form around that masculinity and accommodate it. So once again, you guys have heard me say, if a man is a container and a woman is water, the woman is going to take shape of whatever she's going to be the water, and she takes the shape of whatever the container is. And if you're a container made of paper, she's going to eat right through you, and she's going to go all over the place. So as men lost their masculine container and sought the feminine side, they became paper. They became, I don't want to say like women, but they became weaker versions of a container. And women just ripped right through it. And the more men that became paper, the more women that ripped through them. And what women are looking for is for men to go back to their container, because there's no female nature. What a woman would, instead of female nature, what a woman is going to do is conform to what you provide for her. Yes, Imperator women do know how to communicate when they want sex. Yes, they do. They do. So what I'm getting at is men can put demands on women. Men can create boundaries for women, right? So if you're a container, there are boundaries. If you stop being a container, then there's nothing. I hate to do this, but I don't want to pour it. So if water just hits the table, hits my table, it just goes all over the place. It makes a mess. And I'm saying that's what is happening in our culture. We've allowed women to just go all over the place and make a mess. Men have allowed that. They've stopped being a container. So what does this have to do with makeup, right? It's almost like you used to hear about the snake charmer, right? He charms the snake. He uses music. He mesmerizes, hypnotizes the snake. So some of you guys are being mesmerized and hypnotized by makeup, knowing that that woman really doesn't look like that, yet you're being mesmerized by a mirage, right? You're in a desert and you think you see an oasis. Hey, Tony, let's see. I've had some women be rather direct about wanting sex. I hate to admit this, especially if they were married. Married women who were married were way more assertive about it. Living with women, they learn to get comfortable knowing when they want sex. So I've lived with two women, and they, especially one of them, she definitely was assertive about that. Well, Tony G, I wouldn't say women form themselves. That's why there's no female nature. It's the man who's going to create the form for them. Like they're formless. They're going to take form. And so if you let the women out and roam, like, so the feminists told women that you can do whatever men do, but women don't know how to be the container, right? Because if women knew how to be the container, then they would marry unemployed men and build families and never expect the man to work, and they build communities. They wouldn't be consumers. Women are consumers. 77% of consumer purchases are by women. So the feminists told women, you can do whatever men can do. They told them, you don't have to respond to the container. The container is oppressive. It's a patriarchy. This is hurting you and killing you. And now that women they've run from the container, they don't understand the responsibility of capital. that comes with a certain amount of discipline. They're consumers. That's no discipline. And they're using, while they're saying on one hand, don't make me a sex object, they're using sex mating, fertility. They're using all of these things to manipulate men. And as more and more men become smarter and can no longer be manipulated, it'll be interesting to see what direction women go. Maybe some women will say, hey, I'll gladly be water and accept the form that you provide for me. But that's going to require a certain level of masculinity on men. And some men have been tricked out of that kind of masculinity. There are a lot of men who are feminists and don't realize it. They even raise their daughters to be that. Eve did conform. She conformed to another container. She did conform. It was just another container. Yep, women have become irresponsible. Hey, Cowboy Monk, but this is why men have to be such solid containers. There are too many men who are made of paper and cardboard. Cardboard may be harder than paper, but water eventually eats right through cardboard. It softens it and crushes it. Hell, plastic is much better than cardboard. Porcelain, like your toilet is made of porcelain. Your tub can be made of porcelain. Very firm. It doesn't rust. Yeah, Tony G. That's took the words out my mouth, right? She conformed to a bigger snake's container. This is why men understand principles better than women do. Women worry about things, and that affects their decision making, their risk taking. Um, S1. So technically, women. So yes, women are now getting. You see a higher percentage of high blood pressure, heart attacks, alcoholism, drug abuse. It's as women take on more of these jobs. Yes, it is affecting them. Obesity. Just a quick, and you guys, I think most of you have heard me say this during World War II when they had women, a lot of women in the workplace because men were out fighting during World War II. The men who were in the military needed more supplies. So that meant the women had to work longer hours. There were not enough women. So they had to significantly increase hours for women. And accidents for women went up 150%. And the men who were working, there were still men in the workforce. Even though the men increased the same amount of hours as women, the amount of accidents went up 0%, like it was just nothing. So women are not designed to be in the workplace in a lot of these jobs that they're taking on. Back in, I think it was 2015, I heard a report that the fastest growing segment of heroin users in the US was women who earn high income. So think about that. A woman who earns high income, the majority of the time means she's very well educated and she makes plenty of money. She earns a high income and she's using heroin. How does an educated woman earning high income become a heroin user? And I'm not talking about housewives that are using painkillers. I'm talking about women in the workforce. So the way they are dealing with the demands of high income, right? High responsibility, the solution has been heroin or alcoholism or other drugs. So they are not dealing. So that ultimately, S1, these are all things that will kill these women early. They will experience an early death. They're gaining weight. Um, they're not taking care of themselves because they're not designed to put in the hours. Women don't want to work as many hours as men. They take 60% more sick leave when they have children. So, and they want time off to have babies. So,
Yeah, man, it's just backwards out here, Ted. That's what I see. The role's been flipped, and it's just a big old headache.
yep. Hey, the big exclusive. Good question. What is your opinion of mothers teaching daughters to wear makeup, or daughters learning makeup from their family members and being raised that way? I noticed we didn't cover that. So, really good question. So, a lot of girls are going to wear makeup because they saw their mother wearing it, right? So, I would imagine if a girl grows up in a house with a mother who just never wears makeup, that's going to be normal for that girl. So you grow up with a mother who wears all this thick foundation and all kinds of makeup. It's going to be normal. I mean, look at some of these little girls who are like little girls, like 5 years old or younger, who want to wear a wig or a weave. I mean, someone, this might be anecdotal, but someone showed a little girl, very young, like 5 or younger, had a wig on, and when they took it away, she started screaming and crying. She didn't want to be seen. She didn't want to not have that. So, uh, I'm not a girl, so I don't know all the things mothers tell their girls of why to wear makeup. But I'm going to assert that passing on the makeup it's not just makeup that you're passing on. It's so just think of it this way. If you're born into a low socioeconomic class, you don't just pass on we live in this neighborhood. What you pass on is a certain mindset that comes with that socioeconomic class. You pass on a certain mindset for managing money, how you see yourself, how you see the rest of the world. Uh, you pass on this level of being a victim. So there are a lot things don't get. Someone talked about things don't happen in a vacuum. So makeup doesn't happen in a vacuum. And this is what I was saying to Joe earlier, that the reason behind a woman wearing makeup is not as cut and dry. And we played the video, so they were talking about mating rituals and looking like you're in a state of coming, ecstasy, hiding things. All of that, I'm asserting, gets passed on from mother to daughter. It gets passed on in the stories and the language, and the little girl's gonna ask, why are you putting that on? Oh, I have to hide this. And so the girl is learning at a young age that there's some things you have to hide. You're being sexy. She's understanding the relationship between makeup and sex, even if she doesn't fully understand sex. Hey, S1, Dubs, I actually played a couple of videos. The BBC was one of them, and they talked about that specifically, and the relationship between makeup and sex or attracting. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, all it seems all animals seem to have mating rituals. Hell, I think even insects have it. Well, it seems women are full time, like they're full time in a mating ritual, and then tell men don't sexualize me. Yet, yet they engage the world in a mating ritual, which is all about sex and fertility, and then condemn men for making them objects, sex objects, when that's exactly what they are presenting with makeup. So if women didn't want to have sex, logic would say don't wear makeup. Like the only time you wear makeup is when you want to mate, you want to have sex. That's not what women do. In one of the videos, they talk about how when a woman isn't ovulating, like her lips and her cheeks are a little more flushed, right? So she looks more attractive to men. So, see, you could say that's what nature's doing. It's simulating a woman's ovulation. So, when a woman's ovulating, her body makes her look a little more attractive to a man. And so nature has handled this already. But women are doing this across the board every day with, you know, with or without ovulation. And, you know, it was interesting to hear two women say if women didn't wear makeup, about half the women would not be attractive to men. Most men wouldn't find them attractive. So there are many women who are looking to avoid being overlooked and ignored. So, S1 Dubs, I mean, I got it. So if you say men choose women, but so why would a married woman be wearing makeup? Or a woman who's in a relationship or engaged? Like what's that about? Are you looking to be chosen? What about women uh, who complain that men are always approaching me?
Yeah, that's a good point, Ted. We need to discuss that.
And in S1, in the get chase game, it's pretty competitive. Men just need to choose better. Um, so there's where makeup creates a problem because now the woman is deceitful. And so imagine you engage the world with intentional deceit. You know you're deceiving the world. See, deceit doesn't happen in a vacuum, just your looks. It's everything. And if you start looking at the amount of women who get cosmetic surgery on their bodies, right? Uh, Fake tits, fake ass, they get the fat liposuction or whatever fat taken from the waist and put in other parts of the body. This is all intentional deceit. So men have to be trained in the art of deceit to actually do a much better job at assessing and choosing better for women because women are in full-time deceit mode when they're wearing makeup. And so if you think about that, if you know you're hiding things, if you know you're presenting something that if you know you're presenting a mating dance and sex and that's not what you want from the world, then even that's deceitful. So a man has to read between all these lines with the woman. S1. So how do you choose better when a woman is already knowingly deceiving you? And she's not going to tell you. And I read some articles where men had recently married and had not seen their wives without makeup. And One story was the wife jumped in a pool, and when she came out the water, he saw her with no makeup, and we're done. I want a divorce. And there were a couple of others. So, and I even told the story about a woman who did get plastic surgery. I mean, these are all deceitful. So that talks to a certain mindset. So a mindset that's already has an intent to deceive. And it's not going to be in a vacuum of just the face or the body with cosmetic surgery. There's an intent to deceive. And so I was asking the question, what's the end game? So where are women hoping to get? What are they hoping to gain with so much deception? Hey, yep, Tony G, right? So girdles, cosmetic surgery, makeup, all of these can hide, right, genetic inferiority, health issues, right? Right, could be shown on the face. Tony G, for every one man that avoids the deceit, 10 men will fill the void he leaves behind. On one hand, that's hilarious. It's funny, almost like you can see a cartoon where the man walks away from the void, and then here comes 10 guys who just get sucked right into it, and most of them are just happy to be there. I'm just happy to be here. I've when I was a teenager, I remember a man saying he understood he was being deceived, and he was going along with it. He said he was getting something from it. So S1, so that means men have to be able to clearly distinguish deceptive women. And then we'd have to ask a question, how many women are not engaged in some art of deception? Because if she's wearing makeup, she's being deceitful. And deceit is not just the makeup, it's a mindset. So that means, what are we talking? At least in the US, what are we talking? 75% or more of women who are deceitful and unqualified for anything from a man? What are we talking here? I assume S1 is a woman, but she would probably never admit that. What are you taking from all this, Kendrick?
I think it's all interesting, and in particular, if you look at it from a red pill awareness standpoint to it, these are the common conversations that dudes just need to really reevaluate and just think real, seriously about. In particular, it's like I just heard you mention a man married his wife and he ain't never seen her without the makeup on.
Right.
Well, that let me know they got some issues. You know what I mean? Both that couple, the man and that woman. You don't even know this woman, you know what I'm saying?
Never
Her
seen
true
her before.
features look like.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying, but that's what I was getting out of your message. You need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Right. How could you marry a woman you technically never saw her? You saw makeup, but you never saw her.
Yeah, man, That's ridiculous.
S1, I never agree or disagree with people. I present a perspective, and I just wonder about the accuracy of your statements. That's all. So I don't get into refuting and disagreeing. I question accuracy. That's what I'm doing. And I noticed you didn't deny being a woman. 100% man. Okay. Well, there's only one way to deal with that. S1 Dubs. There's a link. Jump on board. Let's see you. Hey, Common Man, what's going on, man? What's going on? Yep, makeup is a lie. It's deception. It's a mindset. It's a very deceptive mindset. And it's not just the makeup. It's what's behind that. What's the intent? What is she hiding? What is she pretending to be? Even if she's pretending to do a mating ritual and doesn't want to be seen as doing a mating ritual, yet she's doing a mating ritual.
It's almost as if she got on a mask.
It
You know
is.
what I
It
mean?
really is. It really is, though. And it's not just the physical mask. There's a mental mask that goes like you have to have a mental mask of deceit to physically cover your face and hide it.
Right. And it's mostly some type of oh God, I don't even know the word to you. That's what I can't say OCD, but it's almost like here I am in my bed and I ain't showing you nothing else. You know what I mean? If that's making sense. But I ain't gonna never really show you my real self.
Well, okay, so here's this is and Tony G, you and Tony G are on the same page now. So Tony G is saying, so how do we navigate, right? How do men navigate these waters? So I think you were there in the beginning, Tony G, when I read the two articles of men who married. Tony G is saying, so how do we navigate, right? S1, you gotta men navigate these waters. Yep. Okay. So that it's the obvious one, right? Never marry a woman or get deeply involved with a woman that you may not be physically attracted to, especially if you're considering Common Man, that was one of the things, exactly. Especially if you're considering having children with her and you are concerned about the genetics, right? You're concerned about your children turning out to be ugly like her. That's what the guy in China said when he found his wife had plastic surgery on her face. So, the first one, if she wears a lot of makeup, make sure you see her without it. Take her, and it's not just taking her swimming. It's like you want to see. You have a right before you're fully committed to that woman to know who she is and then ask questions. So look, when I first meet and Mark Game, good to see you in the house. On a lot of times on my first phone call with a woman, man, I don't have a list that I make out, but I go down a bunch of questions about who this woman is, what she wants. I might ask about last relationships. I kind of don't care about that, especially that soon. but I ask so many questions that women often ask me if I'm an attorney. Like, you must be an attorney. Only attorneys would ask this many questions and these kind of penetrating questions, right? So you have a right to ask any question you want. You're inviting someone into your life, Tony G. So you have a right to interrogate the person and know who they are. Like, how do you invite someone into your life without knowing whether or not it's someone you want in your life? So those guys who married women without seeing them without makeup wasn't very wise on their part. Okay. All right, cool. Thanks, Tony G. And ask women why they wear makeup. Ask them. S1, no, I don't know if we're okay yet because I need to see you. I see a picture. Anyone can put a picture up. So no, yeah, S1 Dubs, no. The answer is no. I want to see you, not a picture of.
Are we okay now? I can't get on camera. So are we okay now?
You can't get on camera. Why is that?
Because I'm moving around and I can't. I'm not stable. So
okay.
I'm in a darker place and I'm moving around. So
you're in a dark place, huh? Well, I hope everything's right with you, right? You don't mean like literal, right? You just
no. I mean literally, not figuratively. So
I got you, man. I'm kidding with you. So you say that, so this kind of answers the question. You say men need to choose better. Tell me what you're saying and tell me how men can choose better.
I think it's our choices. There's a point in my life where I had to look back and I looked to see, because when I was younger, certain things would go wrong. Although I haven't had a whole lot go wrong, but certain things have gone wrong. And I used to blame other people, other women, other people. And then one day I said, what if you could control, what if you are in control of all of this?
Right.
So I look back at every situation, there was a choice and I could have made different choices. I was actually in control. Now, that means that you're responsible for things that go on in your life, good and bad.
Right.
And a lot of people see that as something negative because now they're like, oh, it was my fault or whatever. But I saw it as liberating because now I said, well, if I'm in control, if I can control it, this is great. Because now going forward, I can create a life for myself that doesn't have any of this stuff in it. I can create a great life if I'm responsible for it. And that's what I went ahead and did. Right. So
talk to me. What does that look like when you say choose better? Because if women, hold on, let me say this. If women are wearing makeup, that is deception right out the gate, right? So she's either hiding something, she's presenting someone she's not. So and that deception comes with the mindset. So how do you choose better in the face of, and you said in the US, maybe it's 75%, right? So how does a man navigate 75% of the women not being qualified?
Well, if a man doesn't want to date a woman that wears makeup or he sees that as deception, let's take this route. Let's say he starts dating a woman. Let's say they even get married and they're going out to a corporate function. And this has happened. So to me, you go out to a corporate function. She gets dressed. She puts on makeup. Now, are you going to say, I don't want you to wear any makeup to go to this corporate function? If you don't like makeup, you can tell her, like, hey, I don't, or date someone who doesn't wear makeup. There are women who don't wear makeup.
Right.
Is she now, because she's getting dressed up to go to your corporate function and she puts on makeup, is she deceiving you or the people that are at the corporate function? I'm not, I guess I don't
That's a good question. Why is it? Because, when they talk about makeup, it's really about a mating ritual. All the implications are sexual.
That's the way it used to be. I don't think it's that way today. I mean, I think it's that's part of it, a very small part of it, in my view, today. And I'm talking North America and probably in Europe too, and a few other places. So I mean, is it deceptive? Are they trying to deceive me? I mean, I could say that, you know, women who wear hair pieces and that kind of thing, that also goes along with it. But I don't date women who wear hair pieces. I will date women with natural hair, so who wear their natural hair. So those are choices that I make, you know. And so all of the things that, you know, a lot of people talk about that are around them, and women this and women that, I don't see them. They're not in my orbit. I may see them if I go out in public, but they're not in my orbit. My orbit is pretty clean these days.
Right. You eliminate them as a possibility in your life.
Absolutely.
And you don't invite them. So that's what someone was asking me, like, so what are solutions? And that's what I said, is that you eliminate, right? There's certain things that you have a right to eliminate who you want in your life. And you technically have a right to interrogate that person before you let them into your life. So even if they're natural and no makeup, natural hair, natural face, you still have a right to find out who that person is.
Absolutely. There should be, I think, if you're dating someone or you're trying to get to know someone, I would think that there's no less than 100 questions that should be asked and answered by both parties. I mean, because of all of this stuff, and I agree with Mr. Neely Fuller on this, who wrote a book and addressed some of this. You know, all of this getting together, and then 5 years later, well, I don't know who you are, because you never asked. We don't like to ask those. I mean, if one of your pet peeves is somebody throwing their clothes on the floor and leaving them on the floor overnight in the morning, if that's one of your pet peeves, that's one of the things you should ask. Hey, do you leave your clothes on? Do you just take your clothes off and just leave them on the floor? I mean, but we don't like to do those things because those things don't fit into the whole romantic notion of dating and that kind of stuff. And I think we're shortchanging ourselves. So in short, with men, we have to ask the pertinent questions like a lawyer early on in the process. There's been a situation not too long ago where it got into a medical thing, and I have some restrictions on people who've had certain medical procedures. Let's put it that way. And I found out that person was happy to tell me that they had this procedure. I don't want to get you in trouble on YouTube for mentioning what it is. And I said, thanks, but I don't date, you know, I don't date genetically modified women. Sorry.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, and she didn't take it too well, but that's just, those things don't come into my orbit if, you know, if I'm dating or for a woman that's by my side. Those things, so I don't see them because they're not in my view, right? I keep it real clean. I keep it clean, and it's been great, and, you know.
Yep. And so I think there's where the challenge is that people, not just men, but and I think men get so concerned about whether they're going to have sex that they don't want to turn the woman off, is I guess the easiest way to say it, right? So you're asking all these questions, and if a woman responds with, "You ask too many questions," he may back down off of that. And I think that's a problem for men to back down from anything with a woman.
Yeah, and I think this question should be asked and answered. I say, ask me anything. Exactly. You know what I mean? Ask me anything. I don't really, you know, because if I'm not for you, then that's cool. Let's figure this out early. Let's not waste any time, and we're good, right?
Exactly. Let's figure this out up front. I literally once told a woman that I was only interested in women who had an IQ that was in the top 2%, and I don't think you're there. So this is not going to work. She was very insulted by that because she was probably smarter. She had, let's say, she had an above average IQ, so she's smarter than 88% of the population. But I told her that it was where she was going to create a problem long term, because I'm going to end up talking about things you don't understand, and you're going to be defensive, and I won't. I'm not interested in that kind of journey. She was offended by that.
But see, you did the right thing. Is that you told? Matter of fact, there's a term for that. Said that I just recently learned like 3 weeks ago. There's a term for people who are attracted to other people's intellect. And what's the name of that?
Sapiosexual.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that. So what I see, I laid it out. So here's what's going to happen. This is a woman who's smarter than most of the 88% of the population. And women are already raised and told as girls they're smarter than guys and more mature. So then there comes this cognitive dissonance, right? So when you start speaking to a woman who out the gate believes she's smarter than all men or most men, and she's been smarter than most of the men she's encountered, and then you start talking about things she's never heard of or not fully comprehending, and she starts arguing with you, that's a journey I have no interest in taking, because that's what's going to end up happening most of the time. She's going to want to debate with me about things that she's never heard of, or say I went to Google. I mean, I had a woman even say she went to Google and Google said what I said, and she said you're still wrong, and so are the experts. So I'm not interested in that kind of relationship. So Common Man said if she's young, only at younger ages, right? If she's young enough, yeah, that could work. It could, yeah.
But you know what I found? You know what I found, Ted? If she's younger, and if she like, there are places, there are women who are raised in cultures where they may not be intellectually up there, right? But they don't really have any interest in all of that, arguing, debating, and that kind of stuff. They're into family, right. They're into taking care of the household. They're into that kind of stuff. And I've run into those women in traveling. I've run into those women, and it was refreshing. Yep. It was definitely refreshing, because you could tell while they were probably intelligent, and to what degree I didn't really know, because I didn't have a lot of time, but their focus was different. Their focus was on family, and some of them were married, and they were still taking care of their husband and the household, and they just had different values, morals, and values. It's like the old reggae song. I want a modern girl with an old-fashioned kind of love. You know what I mean? Like some old-fashioned values and morals, but modern at the same time in some respects.
Yeah. I lived in Mexico for about 2 years, so I encountered the women there who had a very different attitude about family, and to what you're saying. I even lived with Mayan Indians in the jungle of Belize, no electricity or running water, literally in the jungle. So very much very much the family depends on one another in that kind of environment. And you see the cooperation between the husband and wife is flawless. So
yeah, because the husband will cede power to her over certain things like the house.
Exactly.
She sets the rules in the house. Hey, if you're gonna like for something like, hey, take your shoes off when you come in the house or something. You know what I mean? Hey, let's take our shoes off when we come in the house. You cede those powers to her, because that's kind of her role, and you say, hey, if how you say things go in this house, if it's a peaceful house, if it's a clean house, if it's that, and how you say it goes, then that's how it's gonna go, baby. That's it. That's how it's gonna go. And you try not to step on her toes about how things are done around the home, and I think that's cool. I don't want to have dominion over what's all the decorate, all that stuff. Hey, you do that, right? Like, if you're competent, you do that, and I'll cede that kind of power to a woman and say, hey, if we're together and you can do that, then you do it. You know what I mean? I'm good.
And gentlemen, and that's what I have seen in my life personally, Ted, for over 27 years. between this old couple that, you know, that I've been under their roof. That's what I seen, exactly what that brother just said.
Interesting.
I was one of the lucky ones, Ted.
And
Everybody knew they role. She took care of all the decorating and all that, all the cooking, the laundry, the ironing. That's what that old lady did. And all the kids, we obeyed. We knew what was coming, Ted.
yeah, I mean,
We knew
and,
what was coming.
but I think that's a beautiful thing. And then she supports you as you go out and slay dragons, right?
Right. Exactly. And yeah, one of the things that women were responsible was making sure the family was healthy, from food to medicine to and I think a lot of women have walked away from that. It's interesting to meet a woman of today who's still into uh, making things or formulas they learned from their mother and grandmother that ensures the health of the family. That her husband can perpetually work and be healthy and you know bring home he slayed the dragon and brought it home to eat. So yeah.
Right. And I think one of the things is that I think married couples, I think then a lot of them need to do a better job in public. Because if you're young and you look at how some of these married couples move in public, it's not really appealing. I mean, the whole concept of marriage is just not appealing. You see two people go in a restaurant that sit down and eat, don't say two words to each other the whole time. They go to the car, he goes to his side, she goes to her side. I mean, it doesn't look like anything that you would want to be that you would want to get into as a lifelong thing. But when you see couples that go out that make a point to be arm in arm or hold hand or something, if you're a young person, you're looking at that. I mean, that might be something you say, you know, if I see these couples, that look like something I might want to get into. But if you look at a lot of couples, man, it's just, it doesn't even look appealing. I mean, it's like, do these people even like each other? Like, and there's a marketing part of this that I think falls on married couples when they go out, if they have a good, decent marriage, because with the rates of divorce and all this kind of stuff, when we look around, I think a lot of young people are looking for signs that this is something that they want to get into or don't. But when they look at it, it just doesn't look good. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, Ted, but if you just sit back and look, it just even the appearance of it just doesn't. In some cases, in a lot of cases.
When they research successful couples, they find that it's compatibility. So a lot of people chase the romance and the love, and that's very valuable. If you're compatible, I heard you and Kendrick talking about like family values, right? Like your core values. When those how do you value sex? How do you value money? How do you value your physical and mental health? How do you want to educate and discipline your children, right? Where do you want to live? Like these are integrity. Like how important is integrity to you? When you have those, when you're compatible in those areas, you know, these are not things that you say, well, you know, he outgrew. You know, when I met him, he had integrity, right? And then he didn't. You know, he probably never did. And to your point, S1 is, you know, a lot of people ignore the red flags. They either think they can change them but if you're compatible, that is what becomes the foundation of the relationship, and everything else is built on top of that. So it's easy to have affinity for someone you're compatible with. And I know you get what I'm saying, and then I'm gonna like bring this back to the topic. What I think the challenge, and I brought up makeup, is because a lot of women are being deceitful. And I heard your thing about the corporate function. I dated a woman. We lived together 3 years. She never wore makeup, and she went to corporate. She went to corporate events, and you know, when I talk about some were CEOs of Fortune 500s. Everyone else was a CEO of a mid-size 100 million to 2 billion in revenue. So and these were I created the events. So she'd go there. She'd be there with me. and no makeup. When she had on a suit, she was professional, but absolutely no makeup.
Right. I think for me, if I'm in that situation, and this is, I guess it's really a personal thing, right? So if it's me and I'm in that situation and we're going out and she wants to put on makeup, it's if she's down with me, I'm not gonna think that she's putting on the makeup to deceive me or people there. I'm thinking she's trying to put forth and look a certain way for me when we step into that joint. You know what I mean? Like when we step into the place, I'm not going to assume she's doing something nefarious if she's down with me. Like if she's around me, if she's
And that comes back to your first statement is about choice, right? So I chose a woman who was beautiful naturally with no makeup.
right.
I chose that woman, and it was clear, like without makeup. You saw even when I brought her to meet my family, like she's pretty without makeup.
Right.
So that's my choice. So I get what you're saying when when you say to men to choose, but they're while you're saying makeup is not a mating ritual any longer, it does allow women to hide a lot of things. And I read 2 articles where men literally divorced the woman the first time they saw her without makeup, and they were all they had recently married her. So those women got through the door, but they couldn't stay there. They got there under it was fraud.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things where I just you have to get past those things. That's just the way things are in the culture of North America. That's just the way things are.
No, they're
Okay?
not.
I mean that's the way. That's the way you have to navigate those. So when you go around and look, especially if you've been around a little while or a certain age, you know what it is. You know these women out here wearing makeup, and that's cool. If you're gonna date one and you don't like makeup, like I don't really like a lot of makeup. I don't. I really don't. Then you just have to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I like, what I don't like. You know what I mean? Let's have a discussion. If it's not to be, then we're still cool. You know what I mean? We're
And
still good.
perhaps men have to say, if you're looking for a committed relationship from me, I'm from what you're presenting, I'm down with that. But one of my requirements is that I see you without makeup. I have to see you without makeup to move forward. And maybe guys are afraid. Maybe they're thinking, well, maybe I'll have the sex first, and then it's like you said earlier. The sooner you can know these things, the better.
Yeah, and I think so. I keep up my end of the bargain and what I think that I bring to the table, right? In certain things. One of the things I do is I stay in the I'm in the gym a lot.
Right.
So I'm holding up with my end, and I think men don't see their value.
Absolutely.
I don't think men really see their value. They think they have to chase, chase, chase. Well, how about this? How about you're the prize and not her? Especially if you're of a certain age and you're of a certain status. How about you're the prize? How about you?
I mean,
How about you turn them down? How about they don't? They're not into. They're not up to your standards, as opposed to just chasing, chasing, chasing. I see guys doing that kind of stuff, especially young guys. Man, I see young guys getting out of university chasing. Well, I was like, dude, are you kidding me? You're 6'3". You're 6'3", tall, getting into the corporate world. Why are you chasing any woman? You're the prize. You're the one that they're going to be chasing. That these young ladies should be coming after you. You're the one, not her. After 30, she's going to be on the other side. She should be trying to get with you as much as she can, because you're the guy. When you get 40 and you start hitting your stride, all the women are going to be coming after you. Trust me. I said, don't sell yourself short. Don't think like because they're so pretty that they're the prize. You're the prize. And you just keep doing what you're doing, they'll come.
If most dudes what the stars listen to what you just said, cause think about it. That had me thinking. Well, majority of the dudes out here, we ain't putting on no makeup, we ain't putting on no help me see, all these
we don't have
facial enhancements and height enhancements and all these butts and cheeks and all these old crazy enhancements. We look like everyday run of the mill Joe Blow. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's what I was trying to correlate when he was talking about these dudes chasing these women. We not, you know what I mean? The most part, we not thinking like that. I mean, as far as the red pill is concerned, you know what I mean?
Yep. Men come well, but he did say something important. He's in the gym, right? So he's keeping that's not only health, but that's aesthetically that can be aesthetically attractive to a woman. And men need to understand that women really do desire sex, so they do look at a man's body and from a sexual perspective.
I mean, but you shouldn't have to deceive nobody to get it though, Ted. That's what I'm saying.
If you go
Either way, you know what I mean?
If you go to the gym, it's going to show. There are guys getting surgery though, believe it or not, on their arms and pecs. I met one guy who had surgery on his arms. So, hey, Common Man, let me bring you up. But let me. I want to address something. Mark Game Investor said something. I really like this. He said, "Breed for intelligence, not makeup lust." And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I did a show. This, hey man, go on mute. You got. I'm getting some feedback on you, Common Man.
On me? Oh.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, thanks. So and I don't S1. I don't know if you heard me do the show, but I talked about the science of mating was what my show was about. And I talked about how there are people who are mating for romance and looks and feels good and romance and all that, and then you have this segment of the population, and they're calling them the super upper class, and one of the things they are mating for is intelligence. You get husband and wife who both have high intelligence. They're well educated, and they have compatibility in all the other like core values, and they are creating children who are becoming your leaders. And this has been happening since the mid 60s, right? Really, let's say early 1960 was a tipping point. So they start putting out children since the mid 60s, and their children are becoming the CEOs of the large companies and the owners of sport teams and senators and congressmen and governors. And they're creating a whole breed of children, of offspring, and it's generations. And if you're not looking at what Mark Game Investor said, he said breed for intelligence, not makeup. If you don't understand that you're living in a world where this is happening, you're never going to compete with these people who are breeding for this kind of intelligence, and they create an environment at home that supports success, that supports intelligence. You've got to look way past makeup to understand the science of mating and to choose someone like that. And I'll just leave it there. Go ahead, Common Man.
Well, I agree with you. I'll give an example, the perfect example. I was just talking to this one female who was, she's a school psychologist. Okay, this is like 6 months ago. She's 55. She had an 11-year-old daughter. Okay, now, but the reason I didn't stay with her was because I guess you would say she was kind of bossy. Not the point she wore makeup, but she was like she was really into Africa. Okay, she wore the gar and everything, But when I started to get to know her better, that was the makeup. She pretended to be something she wasn't. So when I started talking to her, I came to find out. I think one time it was her fish tank. I guess it had those what do you call that stuff inside the fish tank that kill the fish. The mold, not mold, but
Oh,
what do
algae.
you call it? The fungus.
The algae.
Algae, yeah. So I told her how to get rid of it. She didn't believe me. She went and asked somebody else. So I said, okay, that's cool. All right, like I said, but she said she was down with African American men. All right. Second time, her wiper blade on her windshield. She had an Escalade, right? The wiper blade on her wiper blade on her windshield was bad. So she said she needed to know how to put it on. So I told her how to put it on. She didn't believe me. She went and asked somebody else. And I'm saying, like, now you have all these problems and you come to me with them and I tell you how to do it. And then you go and ask somebody else who tell you the exact same thing I just told you. You see? So like I said, it was the makeup, the African guard, and she was all right looking for 55 years old. But she had put on this falsehood that she was down, you know, she was, you know, something what I was looking for. But then I came to find out she wasn't. Now she's intelligent. And now here's another one. I was talking to her at the same time, right? Her name was Sharice. Okay.
I don't want them coming after me, man.
No, she don't come on.
Right.
Anyway, she was like 45, but she had a 21-year-old son. Now she was sweet in the beginning, but then I found out that her 21-year-old son, he was 21 or 25, was bringing pot to her, bringing some pot to her to give to her. I'm saying, like, this is your son bringing you pot? You see what I mean? I'm like, what type of female, you know? But she seems so sweet. She go to church every Sunday. Mind you, she go to church with her aunt and her mother every Sunday.
Right.
But I said, now you're supposed to be this Christian woman. Now, see, I went from one extreme to the other. You see, you're supposed to be this Christian woman. You know, you showed me all these good things in the beginning. But now you're telling me that your son is bringing you pot in the house. I said, how can I get in a relationship like that? You see what I mean? It was the makeup in the beginning.
Yeah. Look, these are things. A man has a right to know these things so you can make the proper decision.
Yeah, because that's what I do. But I'm like, I guess you can say like you or we like each other. I question. You see, I want to know the who, what, when, where, why, and how. You see what I mean? Before I really get too deep into anything.
Right. Do you do drugs?
You see what I mean?
You have a right to ask, do you do drugs? Do you do painkillers? Do you do narcotics? Like, what do you do?
That's right. Cause I'm like, now, if I get, like, now, I can just imagine myself at 59 years old, talking to this Sharice, that I'm sitting at the house, you know, and I'm thinking she just turned on whatever, and the door get kicked in by the cops. You see, because they say, well, we seen somebody dealing drugs here. You know what I'm saying? We saw him come here. And I'm like, what's going on here? You know, she doesn't do drugs. They say, well, he was bringing here for some reason. You see what I mean? That's why I asked the who, what, when, where, why, how, especially at my age now. You know, especially now. I can't make those mistakes. See, if I was younger, I may have fell for that. But now as I grew older and became more wise, I don't make those mistakes anymore. So I had to say, better luck, I'll try maybe the third one is the charm.
But see, and it's what the other gentleman was saying is that one, you have a right to ask the questions. Two, men devalue themselves way too much, and that's where the problem becomes. I mean, if men can understand, and I love what you said last week, how they showed all women were sexually aroused by the sight of a penis, and all men were not aroused by the sight of the women. So it just shows that women are way more interested in sex than a lot of men realize, and men are chasing the sex as though that's the end goal. Like that's winning the winning lottery ticket is having sex with the woman, and diminishing yourself in the whole chase, and not even and being completely oblivious to the value you bring as a man. And if you understood your value, you would understand you don't have to chase something that she wants also.
That's true. It was like 20% I'll just go with the African American community because I know more about it. They say 20% of fathers in the African American community, unwed fathers, 20% of single black men are the fathers of the majority, like 80%
Multiple
of the women with unwed mothers.
Right, exactly.
You see what I mean? So, it still goes back to the makeup thing. See, she shows you one thing, and she shows this other person something else.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right. Well said. Well said. So I've been doing this for 3.5 hours now. So we've talked about makeup. You didn't see it. I think you came on a little later. I showed some clips. I read some articles from guys who divorced their wives after seeing them the first time without makeup. I played some videos that talked about why women wear makeup and how so much of it had sexual connotations to it. And that's deceitful also. So if you're wearing makeup and it has a sexual connotation, except you don't want to be seen as in a sexual way, that's not being very honest, right? So, and I understand the other guy was saying, well, what if your woman's going to a corporate function and she's putting on makeup? And I get all that, right? What the concern is, if a woman is attracting a man by presenting herself to be something she's not, what is the mindset that goes with that? And so as you were saying, you have a right to ask a whole bunch of questions because someone was asking, well, how do you navigate this, right? So you have a right to ask, how do you look without makeup? I want to see it. And you have a right to be like an attorney and ask a bunch of questions to see where else, what other things is she hiding behind, so that you can understand what's going on.
It's like, okay,
that's the number one thing that men have to understand. You have the right to ask questions. She's most likely not, if she's a quality woman, she won't be turned off because she will get the message that you don't just lay down with any woman. I'll shut up there. Go ahead, man.
It's like when I was working in Hollywood, right? It was I can't remember the scene, but all the women, the actors had to come in. They couldn't come in their regular way. You'll see them regularly,
right?
And it was a cop show. I think it was the Chicago Hope or something like that. I don't remember, but they all had to come in dressed like hookers. Now watch this. All of them, they came in dressed like hookers. You couldn't believe it was the same woman. You couldn't believe it. So that means that these women got this in their mindset. You see, they didn't have to go into makeup to get made up to look like a hooker. They came in looking like a hooker. You see what I mean? So it was in their head. It's like it's there already. You can't walk around. I can't walk around looking like Frankenstein. We'd have to get made up to look like Frankenstein. You see what I mean?
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, you could be a stereotypical pimp, though.
Nah, not me. I couldn't. I'm too straight. Most people think I'm a cop.
You could dress up like that, couldn't you? Couldn't a guy do that?
Nah, I couldn't get that off, man. Most people think I'm a cop. To be honest with you, I can get that off, man. That's easy because I used to always play a cop. But I did try, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't be convincing enough.
Right.
That's what it is. It's the makeup thing. I mean, it's sad, that we got to be fooled. But the men, we have to be fooled. Not all men, but a lot of men have to be fooled before they find out the truth. You see, and some men can't take that either.
Yeah. So I'm not accusing women of being deceptive. I am asserting that there's a culture of deception, and girls and women are taught to engage in that, and men need to be able to strip that away so he can find out who he's really talking to. So I'm not putting women down. I'm saying, just like women learn to speak English, they also learn to be deceptive, and it really men need to be able to pierce that veil.
Yep.
So
This is just the reality. It's rare that you find the real deal. Once as you grow older, because the older you get, the more women put on the facade. You see, like you see women as they grow older, they get the implants, the breast implants, the butt implants, the lip injections, the eye injections, the shaved eyebrows, the fake eyelashes, and you think you got this beautiful woman, and then when you go home, she done fooled you into proposing to her, and then you find out you the same one I met.
That you say the older the men get or the older the women get?
I didn't hear you.
Ask the question again, Kendrick. Ask it again.
I missed a portion of what he just said. Did you say the older the men get, the worse the women get, or something you said? I just missed a portion of it.
I said the older the women get, the worse they get at deceiving. They put in the fake eyelashes, the fake eyebrows, the fake fingernails, the breast implants, the booty injections, all of that. So you think you're getting something, a prize, but then when you finally get her home and you make that proposal, whatever, you find out that everything you thought she was ain't. It's it was all fake, all deception. You see, it's kind of like you ever watch the movie I'm Gonna Get You. I'm sorry.
I was saying that's why I was getting at when I was telling Ted. That's the reason why if Kevin Samuels said all the time, they be looking for you, fertility, and beauty.
Yeah.
That's what these dudes looking for.
Yep. And that's the sad part. I mean, it's rare. I tell you, like with the woman Sharice, I thought she was Christian down. I figured, yeah, she might be down with it. She might be somebody I can get with. But when I find out that her son is bringing her pot, I'm like, nah. See, you didn't say that in the beginning. And like she supposed to think that I'm down with that. I'm not down with that. You see, I don't want another case of Breonna Taylor. You see what I mean? I don't want to be a part of it. But see, that's how you get fooled. Then they put on this false facade, and then you're trapped inside of it. Well, I guess not now. Not really trapped unless you're married. Then you're trapped. But then you gotta pay alimony. You gotta pay child support. You gotta pay spousal, whatever. You gotta pay for a lawyer. But if you can find out before you do get hitched, then it kind of helps out.
So that becomes a man's job. That should be your number one mission, to find out who you're really talking to.
Yep. That's what I believe.
So, Kendrick, Common Man, what are your takeaways from this conversation? That we started out with, are women lying when they wear makeup, right? I had a subtitle that was something like, does makeup make all women deceptive, right? So that's where I was coming from the show. What are your final thoughts, your takeaways for this?
I say learn who they're dealing with before they really get truly involved with them.
Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat that.
That's what I say.
You had it was some noise. Say that again.
I say men need to really seriously get to know that person before they become seriously involved with them.
Okay.
That's what I say. Don't just be so quick to just hop in the bed with them. You need to try to get up in their head. You need to try to learn where their brains at to it.
Very good. Yep. Good lesson to come out. Good. Take your time and get to know her. Common Man, final thoughts, takeaways.
I say question. Find out what you're getting into it before you get into it. You see, you make sure that what you're getting is real. You see, that means something like you know, it's not usually just with the makeup, but usually it goes further than that. Like I heard the other brother was S1. He was talking about it was this female that was talking to him. You know, and with makeup, they can make the transsexual look like a female.
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
You see what I mean? So and then now, and then that devalues the woman right there anyway. You see, that's devaluing a woman. You know, because how can you can make this person who was born a guy look like you, the woman. You see, but women they seem to get with that. So my personal thing is, I'm always gonna find out first. I got to find out. I'm too old to make the same teenage mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I'm too old for that. It's not like I'm 18, 19, 20 years old chasing after some young girl. You know, when I talk to a woman, I expect a woman, not a little girl that's hiding in her Halloween costume. That's what I think.
Okay, good. And we have Halloween coming up soon, huh? So, good thoughts, guys. So here's one of my takeaways, and I like what S1 was saying about men choosing better. Men have to invest in themselves. All right, women will invest in themselves and how they look. They'll buy all kinds of outfits and makeup, and some of them go see therapists. But men have to start investing more into their own mind and developing your own mind. I promise you, the more you develop your mind, the easier it is to pierce the veil and see deception. And not just for women, this is like across the board in your life. If you want a business partner, if you're dealing with clients, or you have children, like it makes life easier to be able to, the faster you can distinguish what's in front of you, right? So it's sort of like if you were a martial arts master, you would have mastery in understanding martial arts. So if you saw someone fighting in a certain style, you would know what that style is and what its strengths and weaknesses are because you've mastered martial arts. So what I'm suggesting, guys, is that you master yourself. And that makes it easier. Like a martial arts master, you can see what style is in front of you and have the tools to be able to know how to best conduct yourself and navigate through it without that woman overtaking you with deception. That's the thing that I would promote the most, that a man's own personal development, self-improvement, developing your mind. There are things that we learn that are not in our best interest, and sometimes we don't know it. It seems like it's working, but it's really not. It works against you. So if you can learn about those things and better understand yourself, it makes it easier to understand another person, regardless of whether it's a man or a woman. And especially when you talk about the people born as men presenting themselves as women, you want to be able to cut right through that. So I guess I have the fortune or unfortunate of being here in Jersey and New York and living in DC, and you see a lot of stuff. So living in cities gives you access to a lot of stuff, and it makes it easier to distinguish it. So,
and the thing is, everything you just said, like I'm not a religious person, but everything you just said is in the Bible, is in the Quran, and is in the Torah. It's the exact same thing. But then you never, when you grow up, you realize, they may have had a point there. You see what I mean? But exactly, it wasn't worded the exact way, but what was said,
principle,
worded exactly.
The principle behind it sounds the same. And there's a guy, Cowboy Monk. He brings up a lot of good scriptures, and says that scripture deals with a lot of this stuff. So, yeah, I appreciate that. So, love the comments from everyone. Common Man, good. This is 2 weeks you've jumped in here. Love having you up here.
I can never catch you, man. Every time I always come up when you like about an hour and a half, 2 in. then you come up, then you pop up on my list over there.
Oh, that means that's YouTube who's got me put me up late on things, so they're not catching
Probably what it is. Yeah.
Right.
I've been on here since like about 8 o'clock, something like that. And I didn't see you till like about an hour or so ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I come on 7 o'clock on Sundays.
Okay, now I got it.
That's right. I come on Friday too. This Tuesday I'm gonna do a show I'm gonna partner with someone on Tuesday, 7 o'clock. We'll come in. So yeah, I appreciate the support. Look, if you haven't smashed the like button on this, smash it now. This is a good time to hit that like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, this is a perfect time to do that. Hit the bell and you get notification of future shows. Share this video. These are conversations guys need to be talking about. You know, it might seem mundane and common. We're talking about makeup, but really we're talking about what's really behind the makeup, you know, mindset. So, and that's the thing, that the sharper your mind as a man, the easier it is to be able to understand the mindset, where a woman's mindset is, and if that's compatible with you. And you can make your choice. You know, I know some guys want to do pump and dump, but there are other guys who might want to be, you know, a little more serious about a woman. So the more effective you are at distinguishing who's in front of you, the less time you waste with women who are not compatible with you. That's the best way for me to put it. So, and a bunch of people on Instagram, thanks for joining. And guys, you know, always love having you. I'll be back Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about something that I'd say is pretty hot and politically incorrect, except it's becoming a more popular conversation. So we're going to tackle that on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And until then, guys, take care. Have a great evening. Enjoy your week. And thanks for joining me. Goodbye.
Okay, man. I'm out.
All right.